It's quite a story. And England, Pickford in goal, Walker, Stones, Maguire and Shaw, the World Cup defence. And then Rice, Calvin Phillips and Jude Bellingham in midfield. Calvin Phillips, who's not started for Manchester City in the Premier League this season, but starts for England here in the opening qualifier. And then Bukayo Saka, Harry Kane and Jack Grealish. So here we go with a brand new qualifying campaign. It kicks off here in the unique, madcap, extraordinary city of Naples, and it begins with a match between the two teams who made it to the final of the last European Championship. And fittingly, it is the defending champions, the holders, Italy, who get us underway in the blue kit, playing from left to right, and England in their first choice colours, or all white it is tonight, the kit with the blue flashes over the shoulders, and it is the ball played up for a first touch for his new international team, Matteo Retegui, who looks sharp. He's tall, probably 6'1", I would say, maybe even 6'2", big shoulders, a strapping young man, and chosen to start here against England tonight. What a night for him.
Incredible story for him, and one that just days away. He wouldn't really have dreamed of making his debut tonight. He's very similar in style to Harry Kane. Will drop in as a number 9 into that false 9 position. We see Harry Kane do so much. Very good on the ball, technically gifted, can manipulate the ball away from players. So it'll be interesting to see how John Stones and Harry Maguire will be up against him. I think they'll want to get tight, get in close to him and make it uncomfortable for him all night.
That's Rob Green, former England World Cup goalkeeper, with us here in the stadium in Naples, watching Italy play the ball forward by Spinazzola, and then it bounces back, and now Italian shirts pouring forward. Spinazzola, a heavy touch from him, and that meant that Harry Maguire could step forward and clear it away. And then Jack Grealish back there, deep inside his own half, carries the ball away to the far side. Bukayo Saka with a touch over there as well. Back to John Stones and Jordan Pickford in the 6-yard area, just tapping it short to Maguire, who gives it to his Manchester United clubmate Shaw on the left-hand side, scorer of the opening goal in the final against Italy, as I'm sure you'll remember. And then Harry Kane trying to win a throw-in near the halfway line, failed to get a touch off an opponent, Di Lorenzo, and it's out for a throw into the Italians halfway inside the England half. It's a wide open stadium, this. A big sort of circular effect it has. The two tiers of the stands are a long way from the pitch, but it generates an amazing atmosphere inside this ground, as you might have experienced in the Champions League with the various English clubs that have come here. Jude Bellingham is picked up for a foul on Barella, just over here on the Italian right wing. So a good chance here for Italy to deliver the ball into the England penalty area.
Yeah, it's a strong start by Italy. A very high press, high energy. As soon as England get it, they're on them. And then just Jude Bellingham, just an arm across the face. No real force in it, but it's enough to concede the free kick. And it's a dangerous one, 35 yards out.
It's a tricky enough game, this, for England, for the start of a qualifying campaign. But also, don't forget, Italy had to sit and watch the World Cup. Ball played in then from the left-hand side, and a missed kick. 10 yards out. That was a dangerous moment. The opportunity was there, and Acerbi, the central defender, was the Italian player who mishit it. Didn't catch it at all. It was around about thigh height, and he actually deflected the ball with his right leg onto his left leg and behind for a goal kick.
Really fortunate, very, very soft, and it dropped to the line, they got it all wrong, the England back line, and from there, it was just a free hit for him, just a stab.
England were fortunate that found a central defender, I would say, on the edge of, 10 yards out, rather than, a more natural goal scorer.
He said if it was a Retegui, it would have been a dream start for him, but England just need to take the sting out of this. You can hear the boos, hear the whistles. It's an intimidating ground, it's an intimidating place, and at the minute, needs to have a little bit of a quieter start.
Mentioned that England supporters have had difficulties getting to and into the ground tonight. I'll just come back to that in a moment, but Italy have got it on the halfway line, actually go all the way back to Acerbi. One England fan has put a social media post out tonight, James Holden, who said it was an absolutely horrible process getting into the stadium this evening. as Italy come forward down the right-hand side into the England left full-back position. Declan Rice is there, puts in the challenge, bounces to his teammate Shaw. Shaw in field. Calvin Phillips now is caught in possession, and Verratti won it back, and now on the edge of the box, half a chance for Barella, but it was quickly closed down by England, and they're able to clear it away out to the right-hand side to Saka, who's in danger of losing the ball, which he has, to Spinazzola, and on his right foot he gives it into the box, and then the cross comes over, but is blocked by John Stones. Pellegrini tried to find, there were two Italian teammates in the middle, but Stones intercepted and put it behind for a corner.
Yeah, and under the pump here, England, and you just got to keep hold of the ball. Calvin Phillips, then Saka, and every time England have got it, they've given it away. It is a strong Italian press. They are working really hard, but it's been sloppy, so sloppy. Yeah,
cold start by England here, warm start by Italy. Corner from over on the far side for Italy. I noticed that Di Lorenzo has gone right onto the goal line. Calvin Phillips with him. Here the ball is delivered in. Glancing header right across the face of the England goal. And wide and behind from Retegui. And it's a goal kick to England. And it's still 0-0. BBC Radio 5 live here in the Diego Maradona Stadium, the former San Paolo Stadium, as it used to be in Napoli.
It's been a fast start by Italy, but it's one that England really haven't helped themselves at all, and you're just feeling now Jordan Pickford on the ball, he's going to play it short, and he's inviting the pressure straight away. If you're going to do that, it's got to be quicker from England.
In England, Stones playing it to the edge of the box to Rice. Pickford just chips it away up towards Luke Shaw, who gets the ball down near the halfway line. Bellingham on the move. Jude Bellingham again with that black strapping around one knee. Bellingham receives it back. That's a lovely turn from him. Gives it back to Grealish on the left-hand side. Grealish onto his right foot, still going to the edge of the area. I think he was clipped there by Di Lorenzo. No, the referee, Serdan Jovanovic, was having none of that. No free kick to England. Ball played across as Italy come forward from the right by Barella, but England were able to deal with it. And now Kyle Walker plays it back into his own penalty area.
It was a foul. It was a foul.
Looked it. We're a long way away, but it did look it.
He's Gareth Southgate now speaking to the fourth official. He said Jack Grealish has come all the way over to the side of the pitch to have a word himself. He said he was trying to stay on his feet. He was trying to do the right thing. If he'd have gone down, and we've seen him do so often for Manchester City, that would have been a free kick.
Well, there's a style surprise as well down there. Gareth Southgate has joined the suit and white trainers brigade.
Well, someone did that a long time ago, and I got absolutely...
Did you?
Both barrels from across the board on social media, so it can be a setup.
Well, it's now the Gianni Infantino look, isn't it? So that's bold to follow his lead. So 0-0, Italy 0, England 0. Going back to that post from England fan James Holden, who's in the ground, he said getting into the stadium there were crushes, groups split up, children crying, all because of some chaotic game the army want to play. I'm not sure what that means, but well, I get his point. Yeah, England coming forward. Saka in the area, right foot shot. Donnarumma's able to go down to his right and save it quite comfortably. There was a defender there, did enough, and Saka couldn't get the clean shot in.
No, did really well though. He followed up his own pass into Bellingham, and he just a bit fortunate, but just battled and bundled his way through to getting the strike on. If England do get one or two passes in, it's so intriguing because they can get through the press, they can get the chances, and we've seen it already. So there's real opportunities there for England. That Saka on his weaker foot wasn't a strong finish, but you got it right, you go with energy and you play through the press, you've got a chance.
Italy 0, England 0. Yes, I get the point that he was making there, and we, when we came back to where we're staying last night, we found an armoured car outside our hotel and a couple of soldiers, and clearly, as you probably know, the fear was that there might be trouble around this match. Fortunately, thus far, fingers crossed, that doesn't seem to have been the case, but clearly England fans have had problems getting to and into the ground tonight, so we might have, I'm sure we'll have more on that later. Here's Bellingham for England, does well, gets away from a couple of challenges, and then he's buffeted by Toloi, who came in, nudged him off the ball, shoulder charge really, and that's given us a free kick to England, and the referee's going to speak to Toloi.
Yeah, needs to, stern word, maybe not a booking, but it's brilliant from Bellingham, just to ride one challenge, then another. He's got through three players there, and not that it would have created a chance, but he was going in onto the Italian goal. But there's his strength, there's what he can do in a game.
Rob, he's already the man who's catching the eye for England in this match. On less than 10 minutes played, but whenever he's been on the ball, he has looked terrific.
It's that type of game where if you've got that energy in midfield and you can drive through the pitch, up the pitch, you're really going to get the opportunity because of how they're pressing.
So England with a free kick, 15 yards inside the Italian half. Very high line held by Italy. Shaw, left-footed, plays it in. Maguire heads it across the box. Kane's after it, but it's headed away and behind, in front of him for a corner to England from the right. Cherby got across there, and it's a corner. England's first now.
You all know Harry Maguire's a real threat. He did well just to win the ball and recycle it, keep it in the penalty area. No chances taken, but such a strength for England in these set pieces. The height that's in this side.
Yep, Harry Maguire, 7 goals for England, record for an England defender. Saka to take the corner, left-footed from the far side. In it comes, it's a deep one to the back post. Donnarumma stretches, got a hand to it, but the referee says that he was impeded, and it's a free kick to Italy. Not sure about that.
Keeper's union, definite foul.
Yes, I thought you'd say that. There was quite a bit of a discussion yesterday. I was speaking to Italian colleagues here about whether actually the Napoli goalkeeper Alex Meret would play in this game. 26 years old, it was his birthday yesterday, and but Roberto Mancini sticking a little bit like Gareth Southgate with Jordan Pickford. You know, Donnarumma's his man.
Yeah, well, form would say that Meret would be the choice, but Donnarumma has been the man for a few years now for Italy, and obviously success in the Euros was incredible.
Yep, the player of the tournament at the Euros, saving, of course, from Bukayo Saka the final penalty, and he's already saved one from him so far tonight. That's a heavy touch from Acerbi, but he's able to poke it across to Toloi, and now the ball on the right-hand side with Di Lorenzo, and then all the way back to Donnarumma again, who, when they were lining up for the anthem, absolutely towered over his teammates. Donnarumma, as Italy now bring it forward with Spinazzola. Little pass through the middle, it will bounce out towards the left-hand side. Retegui is there, the cross comes in from that side. England are able to block it, and then Saka takes up possession of the ball, hits it long to Kane, stretching, still inside his own half, pass slightly behind Grealish, who did ever so well to get the ball down and give it to Bellingham, and Bellingham now approaches the penalty area and shoots, and it's saved by Donnarumma. Above his head, he got his hands up quickly and pushed it over the top of the crossbar.
It was close to him, but struck with real power, 20 yards out. This ball, such a light Adidas ball, it wobbles, it moves, and I tell you what, when that flies, you just got to get every inch of it, power and energy from Donnarumma there just to get it over the bar.
Well played, Grealish, in the build-up. The pass he received from Kane was by no means easy to deal with. He dealt with it, lovely silky touch, and set Bellingham on his way. Shot from round about 20 yards. Corner then, Saka, it's another deep one to the back post, it's over the top, bounces down, Kane with a shot, ricocheted, and it's in! England take the lead! It fell to Declan Rice, who finished with his left foot, and it's a 13th minute lead for England here in Naples. The first goal of the qualifying campaign in the toughest match of the group, and England are in front, 1-0.
Well, it's not pretty, but they'll take it, and they're absolutely thrilled. England fans to our right, thrilled, and it's a scrappy goal, but it's a big goal. It's from that set piece, we're talking about the danger of England just keeping the ball alive. Harry Kane drifts off, manages to bring the ball down 6 yards out and get a shot away, completely unchallenged. The ball ricochets to Declan Rice, who finishes. But Donnarumma's complaining about having his shirt pulled again. England don't care.
Italy 0, England 1. And it's Declan Rice who scores the first goal of this new European Championship qualifying campaign. His third goal for England, Declan Rice. And it comes after he was asked a number of questions about media criticism of his performances, and there he is. It's funny, isn't it, how often that kind of thing happens. The subject du jour is a player being criticised, and one of the things that was being pointed at him was the fact that he doesn't score enough. Well, there he is. 1-0 to England.
There's normally the celebration of the fingers in the ears, isn't there? But not tonight, thankfully.
So Declan Rice and England lead 1-0. And Italy now responding. Ball down the left-hand side, whipped into Pickford, who's able to catch it quite comfortably. The cross from Spinazzola and taken into his midriff. And Jordan Pickford has got it back. Crucial first goal, so important. Start of a campaign.
Yeah, it's just settled the team down, and that belief that can come from it. But it came from England playing through the press, in particular Jack Grealish and Jude Bellingham. They've done it 2 or 3 times and got joy. And that's the key into this game, is that when they can and when they get it right, it's going to bring real opportunities, and you feel like they can do it time and time again.
England have not beaten Italy in Italy since 1961, and they lead by 1-0. Back it goes from Maguire to Pickford, and as you said, Rob, you know, England caused big problems with the height that they've got from the set piece. They did so with the first one when Donnarumma won the free kick, and then with the second corner it resulted in England's opening goal. And the England supporters have been cheered by that, the difficulties that they've had getting here and getting into the ground, coming through. I think it was 4 security checks that we've been told. Well, now they are singing the anthem, and I hope being able to enjoy the night now. Free kick for England in the centre circle, taken forward towards the figure of Harry Kane, who was involved in the opening goal. As you said, Rob, he managed to back away and get some space inside the penalty area, then hit the shot that was deflected to Rice on his left foot, who was, 8 yards out, and swept it in. It was a packed, busy penalty area, but Rice found the net.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and as a goalkeeper, as defenders, what you don't want, as big as Donnarumma is loads of bodies around you, the ball whipped in on top of your head. It's really tough. You just can't get through the traffic. Donnarumma couldn't get through the traffic, he couldn't get to the ball. And as you say, Harry Kane, I mean, how many goals is it he scored? Almost a record goal scorer for England, equal now. And they're leaving him unmarked 6 yards out. It's incredible.
Shaw to Kane. Kane deflected the ball behind Grealish, and then Kane follows up, goes to ground as the challenge was put in on him, but Luke Shaw's got away down the left-hand side and crosses the ball in low, and Donnarumma drops on it. But there were options there. Both Saka and Bellingham were inside the penalty area, but too close to the keeper.
He was free. He was 8 yards out and free, and he needed to find him. It was a huge moment because he did so well to get through one challenge and had time to look up to find the ball. It was a poor cross in the end, but what an opportunity that was.
Italy 0, England 1. BBC Radio 5 Live, BBC Sounds as well. Northern Ireland starting out tonight as well against San Marino. That is still 0-0, the team at the bottom of the world rankings. North Macedonia, Malta is the other match in this group, and Ukraine, the other team in this section. England play Ukraine at Wembley on Sunday. Tickets are sold out for that, incidentally. You will hear it here on Sunday at 5 o'clock with us on 5 Live. And Portugal have taken the lead against Liechtenstein. João Cancelo, who's got an interesting couple of weeks coming up, hasn't he, when he will be up against Manchester City for Bayern Munich in the Champions League. Here's Phillips on the right-hand side, plays it infield to Saka. Saka turns it back to Declan Rice, and Rice couldn't find the pass to Shaw. It was headed forward, actually, for Italy by Berardi, and headed straight to Harry Maguire. Also, Bosnia and Herzegovina leading 1-0 against Iceland. Harry Kane is adjudged to have committed a foul as he was trying to win the ball back near the centre circle. Free kick, Italy inside their own half.
Yeah, just bounced up and off his arm. The referee deemed it to be handball, but it's interesting tactically. The Italians are going very high and very wide, and Saka's having to drop back into the back line as almost a back 5 as a auxiliary right wing back. And it's
poor from Acerbi, sorry, yeah. Rob, just passed the ball out of play. More groans and moans from the stands.
Yeah, well, what I was going to say is that, yes, they're getting bodies high and wide, but they're also very flat as a front line. And the ball into the front line is just not there for Italy at the moment. So they just need to change it, do something different, and come off that line.
Throw into England halfway inside their own half. And our screen here just showing another replay of the goal. So actually Spinazzola turned his back on Harry Kane's shot, put his hands behind his back, turned his back on it, and it hit him and spun right to the feet of Declan Rice, who was able to score. England with the ball at the back, Kyle Walker turning and then clearing away to the halfway line. I did wonder whether Reece James might play it right back tonight, having missed the World Cup, but Kyle Walker is the choice. And now Bellingham again in the centre circle, does ever so well, finds Saka. Saka couldn't thread the ball through. There are shouts for handball on the edge of the penalty area, but the referee's ignored that, as he's actually just acknowledging now the appeal and saying that he didn't feel it was a handball, and Italy have got it back.
Well, judging by the reaction of both Saka and Harry Kane, immediately said handball, so it may well have struck the arm. Whether it was handball, it's very difficult, very close. But again, Jude Bellingham breaking through that line. He's having a fantastic 20 minutes so far.
Yeah, brilliant. He has looked high class, Jude Bellingham, on this pitch tonight. Italy coming forward from the back. Calvin Phillips comes across and puts the challenge in on Acerbi and wins it back. Acerbi felt he was fouled by Phillips, not given, and then Rice to Kane on the right hand side. Kane into the box, drives it right across the 6-yard box, and sliding in on his back. Jude Bellingham couldn't get a touch there. There was a defender, I think, either side of him, and it was, must have been millimetres away from Bellingham getting a touch on that. Any touch and he would have put it in the net for 2-0.
It was Gaza-esque, wasn't it, at Wembley all those years ago? Studs, just some longer studs, that's all he needed, and that would have capped off his 20 minutes of goal for it as well.
Well, speaking of dramatic games in finals, it was actually in this stadium here where England beat Cameroon in the quarter-final at Italia 90. I remember watching that. They absolutely put us through the ringer that night, didn't they? Here it is, but still it all worked out for England and Gary Lineker in the end. Yes, Shaw, Grealish is challenged by Di Lorenzo. That had to be a free kick, and it was. And England now are playing well. It's official.
Yeah, they've got them rattled, and they had a ropey 5 minutes to start with, where Italy came out, but that emphasis and that energy's gone out of them, and they know now, Italy know that they can get played through, so all of a sudden you take a little bit of a backward step, you're not so aggressive, and England enjoying that.
Denmark leading Finland by 1-0. Rasmus Højlund has scored that one after their disappointing World Cup. Shaw with the ball on the left-hand side then with this free kick. Roberto Mancini is standing there, hair flopping down as it always does in his Italian blazer, watching Shaw curling this in, but it's headed away for Italy by Toloi. Comes out for England with Kyle Walker. Walker puts his foot on the ball, plays it back to the halfway line, and then Phillips inside his own half goes all the way back to Pickford. It's been surprising, or it's surprised me here, speaking to a number of Italian colleagues and generally Italian people here, who were very, very unconfident about Italy's chances in this match. And I felt like saying to them, you do know, don't you, that you are European champions, but didn't get the World Cup, but did win the group in the Nations League. England finished bottom, Italy finished top, and they'll be going to the finals in the Netherlands next summer. But there was not confidence.
Consistently inconsistent, I think.
Here's Pickford with the ball at the back, chips it away, and then Bellingham does well, but Grealish doesn't get there, bounces back to Bellingham, who did ever so well again. I mean, that was so difficult. And then Bellingham receives a pass behind him from Shaw, and it bounces out of play for a throw-in to Italy.
He's playing a different game at the moment. He's playing in the park, he's playing on the street, and it's just a joy to watch. It's just people bouncing off him, he's flicking the ball over people's head. It's an absolute joy.
Well, what's happened here? The ball bounced into the England dugout, and I think maybe one of the England players has kept the hold of the ball. Is it Kieran Trippier?
Yeah.
Who is in there?
Friendly chat with the fourth official.
And wouldn't give the ball back to Di Lorenzo, the Italian right back, and there was definitely an exchange in there, and words were said, but the fourth official was there. It's all calmed down. Ball bounces over the top for Italy. Barella is onto this, but it bounces away behind off him, and it is a goal kick. Well, England weren't able to score in the two matches against Italy in the Nations League, the recent meetings at the end of last season at Molineux, the 0-0 draw, and in Milan in September, but they have scored tonight.
Well, it's going back to it, but set pieces have been a huge part of Gareth Southgate's England team. You all remember in the World Cup and Russia when they had the famous train that they set up, and then there's been other set pieces. This one, again, that corner was such a tricky one to deal with.
Kane does well, turns against Acerbi, 30 yards from goal. takes it out to the right-hand side, still going Harry Kane, and then plays it off the defender and out of play for a throw-in near the corner flag. More applause. England growing in confidence here. We talked about the mentality, making sure that that was absolutely right tonight. First match back after the World Cup, the disappointment against France. Harry Kane himself back in an England shirt for the first time since missing that penalty. Throw-in for England, which was taken to Saka, and Kyle Walker holds his head on the far side, having taken the throw. Saka was in, but it bounced away through for a goal kick.
Completely switched off. He's the only man to mark, and there's two of them marking him, and then they both just switch off, and Saka goes, okay, I'll go and stand over it, and he's on the goal line, and he's just, a couple of inches away from being a good throw.
There's been an opening goal in Northern Ireland's campaign as well. John Southall is monitoring the pictures from San Marino.
I am John, and a first goal for Michael O'Neill on his return. It came from a cross on the right-hand side. Dion Charles peeled away at the far post and scored into the roof of the net, his first international goal, and it's San Marino 0, Northern Ireland 1.
Yes, we were there, weren't we, not so long ago, when England won 10-0, which I'm not sure I'll ever see again. To see England win a match 10-0, and it was an extraordinary trip, that, wasn't it?
Yep.
Do you remember the ammunition shops?
Yes.
Gift shop, ammunition shop, gift shop, weapon shop. That was bizarre, wasn't it?
How was your customs declaration on the way home?
Well, I didn't bring any weapons back with me. Anyway, that's San Marino. This is Naples, and it's Italy 0, England 1. And after a strong start from Italy, England have taken charge, played some really good stuff. Scored the goal, Declan Rice, and Harry Maguire's taking his time, taking his free kick, and the referees, well, they're red hot on this at the moment, aren't they? Time wasting. England are winning 1-0, and the referee in his red shirt and black shorts has sprinted across and told Harry Maguire that he has to get on with it. So that's a warning to England. Free kick from Maguire to Grealish, and Grealish plays it off Berardi and out of play for a throw-in.
There's just moments in football you're watching, and there's such a high standard, and the expectation level that Harry Maguire's got the ball, fires a 60-yard ball to Jack Grealish, who nonchalantly just brings it down on the half volley, perfect touch. Just moments like that, you'd think, these guys are really, really good.
Yeah, Grealish playing instead of Phil Foden, who, well, I spoke to him this week, talking to him about this injury that he's had, this foot injury. He said it was in the fat of his heel, and he's playing with it. So it's still there, it's always there. One day it's better than it is on other days, I think he said to us. But Jack Grealish playing instead of him tonight as Italy come forward, and a chance for Barella, but an excellent challenge from Declan Rice, the goal scorer, to snuff that out. Jack Grealish plays it via a deflection, it came off an arm, and it is given as a free kick to England.
Yeah, brilliant tackle that from Declan Rice, and he may have scored the goal, but that challenge was just as important. Carved up so many yards just to get across, and Barella, his eyes would have lit up with the sight of the goal, and all of a sudden the door slammed shut.
Yeah, well, that's another aspect to Declan Rice's game that's operating well tonight, Rob. Defensive tackle, scored the goal.
He seems on form, almost.
Pickford, long and forward. But I mean, it's Jude Bellingham who's at the heart of this England display so far. Here is Kane in the middle. Kane turns in the centre circle and then plays the ball out towards the right-hand side. Kyle Walker is there, bright orange boots. Back in field towards Calvin Phillips of Manchester City. A couple of substitute appearances at the World Cup. But for Manchester City this season, 2 starts in the Cups, 11 substitute appearances. But in the England team. Similarly, of course, Harry Maguire at the back, England's number 6, who's made just 5 starts in the Premier League, but has started every match for England this season.
Calvin Phillips had a slow start. He wasn't on his own in this game, but he's found his feet now, looks happy, looks comfortable on the ball.
Bellingham is fouled by Barella, who does not like that decision, marches past the referee and mutters something. Free kick to England after that challenge on Jude Bellingham.
Sure, he really had much to shout about after the tackle. It was a clear foul, and England again just taking the time and just really exuding confidence.
Rob Green with us here in Naples tonight, and England have wasted time taking the free kick, and it's a yellow card for Harry Maguire. Well, that's careless. That is careless. Declan Rice is saying he couldn't take it. Or was it Rice who was booked? Because Rice looked as though he was going to take it and then walked away from it and left it to Maguire, and it's Declan Rice who's booked for that.
I think that was a case of actual genuine confusion, as opposed to the ones before, which was time wasting. Harry Kane now coming over to speak to the referee, and it's just needless, really, isn't it?
Am I right in saying England got just one yellow card at the World Cup? As Maguire plays it forward, out towards the right-hand side, Saka infield, Rice is there as well, but it bounces down for Italy. And here now is Jorginho on the edge of his penalty area. Barely seen Jorginho in the match. He's driven forward, but Pickford's quickly out of his goal and left-footed clears it away 5 or 6 yards outside the penalty area to the halfway line, comes back over the top. Maguire heads it to the right-hand side, and then it's nodded back to Pickford. But obviously, you know, in a group situation here, cheap yellow cards you do not want, because that will lead to suspensions almost inevitably if you get one in the first match in the group. Yeah, just one yellow card for England in the 5 matches at the World Cup, which I think was Harry Maguire in the France match. Saka back to Rice just outside the penalty area, and then back to Maguire, take a touch on his right foot, then drives it forward to Luke Shaw, and then Shaw forward to Grealish, hair swept back. Grealish is forced to take it further back into his own half, but then turns and gets round his man, uses Bellingham, and then Bellingham back to Declan Rice, and England with Maguire, who turns away from Rekegi and then passes it back to Pickford. So 1-0 England lead. Declan Rice scoring in the 13th minute following a corner, and Rice now playing it to the right-hand side to Saka. Saka forward towards Phillips, now Walker on that far side, back in field to Saka. Saka drives past 2 men, beats another, and then tried to lay it to the far side to Harry Kane, who wasn't there, just passed it to Spinazzola, who cleared it away.
It was the wrong choice. He could have shot. It was a wonderful move by England. 30 odd passes, I think, in there before it got to Saka. Could have taken the shot on.
Well counted. That's Jimmy Armfield like. Jimmy used to do that. He would sort of have an idea of how many passes had been in a move. Here, Italy lose possession. Jorginho lost it, and now Phillips shoots low and narrowly wide. Donnarumma diving down to his right. Oh, that was close to 2-0 again for England.
It wasn't brilliantly hit, but what it was accurate. It's just sneaked past the post. He thought it was in. Harry Kane's furious. He's saying you should have rolled it to me. That would have been my record, because he's maybe 15, 16 yards out and through on goal.
It was a whisker wide of the foot of the post. So it remains 1-0 to England here against the defending European champions Italy, who failed to get to the World Cup. Remember, they failed to get to the last 2 World Cups, and now they're in the group with North Macedonia, who knocked them out in the playoff semi-final. So those matches will be there'll be a bit of feeling in that, I'm sure. That awful night for them in Palermo, where they lost to a very late goal, and that was it for Roberto Mancini's team, European champions, who were knocked out 8 months after winning at Wembley. So I thought they'd be smarting tonight because of that, because having to sit and watch the rest of the world. Here, though, is Barella through the middle, now out towards the left-hand side. Pellegrini is there, his ball across is cleared away quite comfortably. Spinazzola's cross it was cleared away quite comfortably, and now Spinazzola's out of possession, so Verratti is trying to get back. Saka slips it forward but overhits the pass for the arriving Kyle Walker, and Italy are able to clear back up towards Spinazzola, who then beats Saka. They enjoyed that, the Neapolitans. Back to the edge of the penalty area, and Italy start again from the back. Here is Verratti with the luminous green armband on. As I say, no Bonucci tonight, the experienced Leonardo Bonucci, who is injured. Italy will go to Malta at the weekend. That's their second match, Sunday at 5 o'clock. As I say, England playing Ukraine at Wembley, 5 o'clock, commentary on 5 Live. Ball over the top, which is allowed to bounce through to Jordan Pickford in the England goal. Rob Green.
Kyle Walker is having a word with Bukayo Saka on the far side. He ran, sprinted 20-30 yards back to block across, and then ran the length of the pitch to overlap Saka, who'd broken away, for Saka to play an awful pass to. And he just slumped off the side of the pitch. He went, I'll tell you what, you can track back this time.
Got some more information about what was happening outside the ground with the England fans before kick-off. One of our BBC colleagues, our sports news colleagues, has told us that there was police baton charges at the queuing frustrated England fans outside the ground at the away end after buses arrived minutes before kick-off, and one fan was attended to by medical teams from an ambulance after being hit by a baton across the head and shoulders. It's not good. So more on that to come, I'm sure. Here's Saka on the right-hand side. Saka playing it into Kane just outside the penalty area. Kane is challenged, bounces to Phillips. Phillips couldn't get there though, and Italy cleared it. Back to goal scorer Rice, and England start again from the halfway line. So it doesn't sound good what was happening outside the ground, and I think the frustration was, from what we're hearing, as there's a poor touch by Di Lorenzo there, and Grealish was already almost onto it, and then Donnarumma put his foot through it and volleyed it away, and Italy playing it out from the back, but Shaw's intercepted that. Bellingham gets there first for England, 25 yards out. Bellingham this time ran down a cul-de-sac of azuri blue. Three of them were able to get the ball off Bellingham and left him on the ground. So Italy coming forward from the back. Acerbi just leaves it. Jorginho now passes it forward up to the left-hand side. It's allowed to roll to Spinazzola. Spinazzola up against Saka. Right foot, no, he delays it. Then he plays it in, but over the top of Retegui and beyond the far post. And it is a goal kick to England, who lead 1-0.
Yeah, it's well defended in the end by England. Saka didn't get enough pressure on the ball, but Harry Kane now, experience of Retegui up against him, just standing there, just blocking him, going, look, if I'm not going to get to the ball, you're not going to get to the ball, and it harmlessly drifts wide. I think John Stones and Harry Maguire have got the measure of him. I want to put the mockers on him, but at the moment it's looking like a fairly comfortable night for the two centre-halves.
Still just 1-0 though, 10 minutes to go to half-time here in Naples. Italy 0, England 1. Italy, if you remember, during the Euros before and after, they went on a 37-match unbeaten run, which is a record for men's senior international football. Roberto Mancini, as the coach, has lost only 7 matches, but 4 of them have been in the last year. They were whacked by Germany in Mönchengladbach at the end of last season, 5-2 in the Nations League. Lost to Argentina, the future world champions, in the big finalissima match at Wembley. And now here they are 1-0 down to England. But Italy playing it forward. Here is Retegui through the middle, but it bounced off him, and now Rice and also Stones slid in, gives possession back to Italy. Verratti of Paris Saint-Germain slips it forward. Now to Pellegrini, Spinazzola slightly behind him, so it has to go back towards the halfway line. Yeah, Roberto Mancini, who's down there looking as urbane as ever, but he's clearly concerned as the ball's played in from the right-hand side by Berardi, but England deal with it. Stones step forward, and now Maguire just knocking it to his left to Shaw. There are Italians at close quarters, but England are able to knock it around, and Shaw again goes across the back line to Walker on the right-hand side, and Walker under those big floodlight pylons that hang from the roof of the Diego Armando Maradona Stadium, shining down on him. Walker plays it infield to Phillips, and then back to Stones again. Declan Rice, ball almost stationary at his feet, passes it square to Harry Maguire, and Maguire now looks up and finds Shaw, but the pass was a little short, so England have to go back into their own half again, all the way back to Pickford indeed.
It's just a couple of moments for Retegui where the touch just hasn't been there. It's not as sharp and as crisp as it should be. And just those moments you feel that the confidence has started to ebb away for Italy. England looking more and more comfortable on the ball. They're just keeping the ball. They don't really feel the pressure, the need to go forward so much. So at the moment, very, very comfortable, very, very confident.
England with the ball in front of their own penalty area, and John Stones carrying it forward. Declan Rice just makes himself available. Italy have dropped back into position, and actually looking at them there, it looks more like 4-5-1 rather than 4-3-3. There's Shaw, then up to Bellingham. That looked a heavy touch on Bellingham from the challenge from Toloi, but no free kick, and Italy break forward, and Verratti now through to Retegui, edge of the penalty area, shoots into the shins of Stones, but it bounces to the left-hand side, and then as Spinazzola tried to deliver it across, well, I thought it could deflect it behind for a corner, but it's been given as a goal kick.
You and me both, John, and it was good defending in the end. John Stones just delayed and delayed. He knew that Kyle Walker was coming back, and then there was 2 players in front of Retegui, and the block was there. Again, Just his first touch again was poor. It was a cross onto his left foot when he wanted it onto his right. Then he's trying to have to manipulate it back round, and the chance goes.
Yeah, Bukayo Saka came in with the challenge on Spinazzola, which forced him, Spinazzola, actually to put it behind with his left foot. So it was a goal kick, correct call. Italy 0, England 1. Declan Rice's 13th minute goal, swept in, left-footed from 10 yards, and here he is now, the West Ham captain, taking it on now, deep into the Italian half, and Rice, a right-footed ball right across to the left-hand side to Grealish, who gets it down, plays it first time back to Shaw. Shaw curls it into the back post, and it's headed up and over his own crossbar by Spinazzola for another England corner.
So Luke Shaw gets a thumbs up from Harry Kane. It was a really good ball, well defended in the end, but again, England getting through the press. And seemingly at the moment when they've got the ball, they seem like they've got an extra man. They've always got a pass, they've always got an option. It's brilliant from Declan Rice.
Saka to take this corner from the far side. So Bukayo Saka just placing it in the quadrant. England with 4 players between the edge of the 6-yard box and the penalty area and the penalty spot. Harry Maguire, keeping my eyes on him. It's delivered actually to the back post to Kane, who chests it down. In fact, he's saying that that struck an arm. Harry Kane is absolutely convinced that that's a handball in the Italian penalty area. I think, well, he's gone to the referee and he's asking VAR to have a look at this, and the referee, I'm sure, will be talking to the video assistant referee. Goal kick is not being taken yet. Yep, they are looking. There is a potential penalty check. Now, Harry Kane was backing away at the far post, the ball came over, and the player in front of Kane, I mean, Harry Kane was absolutely certain that it was a penalty, certainly with his body language. And we're seeing now, Rob, the replay, and, well, it's Di Lorenzo who was backing into Kane, but had his arm outstretched behind him, and the referee has been called to have a look at this, and the arm was outstretched, it was away from his body, it blocked it from reaching Harry Kane, and the referee has been advised by the video assistant referee, who's Polish, Tomasz Kwiatkowski, has advised the Serbian referee, Srdjan Jovanovic, to come and have a look at it, and that's exactly what he's doing. There's a little booth down there on the running track, and he's got his head in it. It's almost like one of those old photograph booths, and he's watching the screen there, and the arm is outstretched, Rob, and it looks like a straightforward decision.
The only shock, I don't see what's taking him so long. He's watched 4 or 5 replays now. Mancini almost pleading, saying, oh, Harry Kane pushed him. He didn't push him. He's just missed the header, his arm's outstretched, and he's got it wrong. And Harry Kane would have brought it down on his chest, he would have been on the angle, it would have been tight.
So the question here is, it's not whether it struck the arm, it's whether Harry Kane forced him by a little push or not. The referee walks away from the booth, there's the rectangle, it's a penalty! It's a penalty for England! A chance to go 2-0 up just before half-time, and a chance too for Harry Kane to score his 54th goal for England. But what a twist to the storyline this is, because of course in his last match, Harry Kane in the World Cup in Qatar had the chance to make it 2-2 and put his penalty over the crossbar. And the Italian players are surrounding the referee. England actually got to the penalty spot first. I think they were concerned that Italy might try to churn up the penalty spot, but the referee's wise to this as well. He's telling them to go away, and meanwhile, all the time, Harry Kane is just keeping away from this and concentrating on the job that he's got to do, Rob.
Yep, and he's up against Donnarumma, who has the history, he has the past of saving penalties in big games, in big moments, and for Harry Kane, this is a big moment. Well, currently, the FA have Wayne Rooney and Harry Kane level on 53 goals for England each, at the top of the list, the all-time list of international goals for the joint oldest international team. But Harry Kane now has this chance from the penalty spot to get rid of those memories from Qatar, and he stands now 1 foot in front of the other. The England captain is ready against Donnarumma. Final breath, and then Kane scores! Sends Donnarumma the wrong way, and that
sweeps away the bad memories of Qatar from the penalty spot for the England captain. He gives his team a 2-0 lead, and in doing so, he becomes the first man to score 54 goals for England. He's got the record all to himself, and power to add, of course. Great moment for him, and a great moment for Gareth Southgate and his England team here against the European champions who beat England in the final at Wembley, in a country where England have not beat Italy, where England have not beaten Italy since 1961. With half-time approaching, it is now Italy 0, England 2.
The emotion of Harry Kane to keep it in check whilst he knew it was a penalty, and whilst he was waiting, he knew what he was up against in Donnarumma, what he was up against in his recent history. But the way that he takes a penalty says everything about him. So consistent, so regimented in his practice, in his drills, in his career, leads him to be the man alone now.
Well, he's a record penalty scorer for England as well. That's his 18th penalty. He's got the record for competitive goals for England as well, 48. And the records keep coming in the season, of course, where he's become Tottenham's leading scorer. Saka, now forward, Kane's in again, plays it across, Grealish, oh, he misses! He slashed it wide. It wasn't far short of an open goal for the arriving Jack Grealish, but he sliced it. The man whose touch is so often so sure, sliced it right across the face of goal with the outside of his right foot.
That was the game. That was the game there and then. Italy have gone. They're an absolute shadow of the team that started the game, and Saka does brilliantly, breaks down the right. He's got the length of the pitch to run. Eventually, Jack Grealish, as you say, John, open goal on the angle, just opened his body up too much. It just seemed too simple for him. Just needed to put his laces through it, just cut under it a bit, and it drifted wide. That would have been the game and a dream start for this campaign.
Still pretty good. Italy 0, England 2, but it could be even better. And Bosnia and Herzegovina now leading 2-0 against Iceland. And the England supporters in great voice. You know, they clearly had a very tough time tonight, the England fans, with the buses that were bringing them to the ground. You know, they were the rules. The England fans who were coming here tonight, 2,482 was the official number. You know, they had to get those buses because there was the concern that there could be trouble outside the ground on the way to the ground. So it was all organised, but it sounds as though the organisation has broken down there again, and yet again, you know, a big football match where the organisation has been lacking.
Incredible.
But on the field, England are looking good. 2-0 up, great moment for Harry Kane. So Rice and Kane, the England scorers, and Harry Kane in his 81st cap, scoring his 54th goal. And Pickford is just trying to shepherd the ball behind, and actually it was kept in, and Pickford was out of his goal, off the pitch behind the goal line, but England had covering defenders and were able to clear.
Well, he's calling over to the referee's assistant. It was more of a plea to say, please say it was out. There was absolutely no need to do that. Just trying to kill a bit of time. Could easily just pick the ball up and get on with the game. Trying to be too clever.
Harry Kane's penalty, Rob, you know, the Italians felt that they had a case that Di Lorenzo was being pushed, and perhaps that should have been taken into consideration. Well, it was taken into consideration. That's clearly what they were talking about, the officials, whether Kane. There's the half-time whistle. What a brilliant half for England. And frustration, Jorginho, top of the league with Arsenal, belts the ball off the field in frustration. You know, they clearly feel that they had a case for that not to be given as a penalty by VAR, but it was. Harry Kane scored it after Declan Rice opened the scoring. Jack Grealish could have put this match out of sight, but hit it wide, and all after Italy made a promising start actually in the early stages. But 2-0 England, Rob Green.
Brilliant half of football for England. Rode the first 5 minutes, rode the storm of that. And from there, I have to say, it's been plain sailing. Really just looked such a better team than Italy. Looked confident on the ball, looked like they're a threat, and when they can drive forward, Jude Bellingham's been on another level. He's just completely bossed that midfield, and they can't deal with him, and they can't deal with Saka's runs, they can't deal with Harry Kane, they can't deal with the set pieces. It's been a fantastic half for England.
Well, they wanted a reset. Gareth Southgate said it was time for a reset after the World Cup quarter-final exit, and the reset's going well. Italy 0, England 2.
John Murray, Rob Green, your commentary team there, taking you through what has been an impressive first half from England. A record-breaking first half for Harry Kane, Paul Robinson, who's doubled England's lead and put his recent international disappointment behind him with that goal that does officially make him England's all-time record goal scorer. He's not usually too animated, is he? But you could see what that meant.
Yeah, strikers love scoring goals, don't they? And when records get near, it becomes a burden, it becomes a weight on their shoulders. And when Harry's been so near to this record for so long, and now he's finally passed it, but you look at the amount of games that he's done it in, he's done it so much quicker than Wayne Rooney did, and he's got the opportunity to go on now and to set a record that will be very, very difficult to pass going forward. But I think he and the whole England side were excellent in that first half. Typified by Jude Bellingham's performance. He was absolutely outstanding in that first half, and England didn't start particularly well. Italy were the better team for the first 10-15 minutes. The press was good, but England stuck to the game plan. They showed they had character, and they could be well out of sight. They could be 3-0 up. It was an excellent start, excellent first half for England.
Absolutely. England then 2 goals to the good in Naples. We've got second half commentary on the way. Unfortunately, as John Murray was mentioning in first half commentary, we have heard of some fans struggling to get into the Diego Armando Maradona Stadium this evening before the match started tonight. One fan was attended to by an ambulance after being hit by a baton. We'll continue to keep you updated on that if anything further comes from this. Before we go to the news, just time to check in with John Southall, who's been keeping across San Marino against Northern Ireland. John.
And Northern Ireland lead by 1-0. As you'd expect, they've dominated the first half with 74% possession. Just the one goal, though, came from a corner on the right-hand side from Connor Washington across from the right-hand side. Dejan Charles met it at the far post. It wasn't easy, high bounce, but he managed to guide it into the roof of the net. Good technique, good finish. He scored 18 goals for Bolton this season, and you can see why. That's his first for his country. Could have been more. Paddy McNair had an effort saved. George Saville chipped an effort over the bar, and Conor Bradley late on in the half was denied by Benettini in the San Marino goal. He must be one of the busiest people in world football. San Marino haven't featured as an attacking force, and you have to think Northern Ireland can help themselves to a few more here. San Marino 0, Northern Ireland 1 at half-time.
John, thank you. Coming up over the half-time break then, we'll bring you up to speed with today's biggest sports stories. That includes looking ahead to this weekend's boxing. And that is all after the news on 5 Live with Tim Daly.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
World Athletics says transgender athletes who've been through male puberty will not be allowed to compete in women's track and field events from the end of this month. The organisation's president, Lord Coe, told a news conference in Monaco a working group will be established to conduct further research into eligibility guidelines. Expert in transgender athletic performance, Joanna Harper, says she's not surprised by the ban.
I'm disappointed because I don't think it's necessary. There's no trans woman who has competed at international levels of athletics. And in those sports that continue to allow trans women to compete, trans women are not taking over and are still hugely underrepresented.
Junior doctors in England have announced a new 4-day strike next month in their ongoing dispute over pay. They'll walk out from the 11th of April to the 15th after talks between their union, the BMA, and the government broke down. The Department of Health says demands for a 35% pay rise are unreasonable. The Bank of England's increased interest rates to 4.25% in response to this week's rise in inflation. The Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt, says the bank has made the right decision. Former member of its Monetary Policy Committee, Deanne Julius, says that was its only option.
It was not just that inflation went up, it was also that services inflation went up, it was that core inflation went up, food prices went up, even on the last month's basis, let alone in the last 3 months. So I know it was pretty significant that inflation is embedded
And the UK Parliament is blocking the Chinese-owned social media app TikTok from its networks over security concerns. The Scottish Government is also making a similar move. And that's the 5 Live News.
This is who we are. Welcome to the neighbourhood with Jade Adams.
Is a seagull strong enough to break windows? Someone called Pori's now replied, does it have a hammer?
Michelle Visage's rule breakers.
And this whole sort of assumption that, have you got a man? No, actually, I've got 5.
Ah, yes!
And Lioness, My Journey to Glory by Beth Mead.
Scoring that many goals in front of that many fans screaming my name was the biggest rush of blood I'll ever get in my career.
Celebrating who we are. Listen on BBC Sounds.
5 Live Sport
with Emma Saunders.
Half-time then in Naples, it's Italy 0, England 2, thanks to goals from Declan Rice and a record breaker from Harry Kane, making him England's all-time record goal scorer. Second half commentary on the way. Elsewhere today in athletics, Russia's doping suspension has been lifted, but the country will remain banned because of the war in Ukraine. Athletes haven't competed for Russia since 2015. Finnish entrepreneur Thomas Zilikas says he submitted a bid to buy Manchester United. Ineos owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Qatari banker Sheikh Yassim are the only other publicly declared bidders. It is also understood US investment company Elliott has made an offer to purchase a minority stake. The deadline for a second round of bids has been extended to Friday. In the Super League, it's Huddersfield Giants 0, St Helens 12. You can hear commentary of that over on 5 Sports Extra. And WBO World Cruiserweight Champion Lawrence Okoli has said he'll showcase a new clinical style against David Light in Manchester on Saturday with new trainer Sugar Hill Stewart in his corner. This fight is, of course, live right here on 5 Live from 10 o'clock. A BBC Sport investigation has, for the first time, given an insight into the number of domestic flights taken by Premier League football clubs. 81 domestic flights were taken by teams over a 2-month period between the 19th of January and the 19th of March this year. The BBC Sports editor Dan Rowan has more.
We found evidence not just of those flights, but also of what's known as positioning flights, more than 30 in fact. Now these are known sometimes in the industry as ghost flights. They're usually empty, and charter companies, airlines use them to get a plane from one airport to another, where they will then pick up the passengers, and in this case these Premier League teams going to and from fixtures. These planes aren't necessarily therefore at the airport they need to be, and of course because these clubs don't have their own jets, you may think they should have, given the money at their disposal and how often they're flying. Maybe they should. They will effectively order in these flights, or the airline will, to pick them up, but of course it's adding to the amount of air travel, and as we know, as we're constantly told, it's more harmful, it does more damage to the environment than travelling by road and by rail, and some of these flights are very short indeed, less than half an hour.
Let's bring back in Rob Green and Paul Robinson, who are with us this evening. Paul, we'll come to you first. Just how conscious do you think players are of this kind of thing?
I think players are becoming more aware of it because of the environment and the world that we live in at the moment, and there is a lot more awareness around travel and travel awareness and how to travel. I think managers will utilise the best form of travel because of fixture pile-ups, because of the amount of games that players have got. If you finish a game, you're going to want to get back as quickly as you possibly can to rest, recover and prepare for the next game. And also you're going to want to avoid travel delays on the way to any kind of games, to avoid being late for the stadium, to avoid being late so the players can rest beforehand. And football is an easy target because, you look at different sports across America, you look at different sports across the world, the NBA, the NFL, teams will travel on their own planes, and it's the most effective way of transport for teams to travel. Yes, it may not be the best way in which to do it, but to single out football is difficult because we talk about the positioning flights. Airlines do this every day. Not necessarily does an aeroplane go backwards and forwards from one certain place. It will go somewhere and then it will position itself for the next day. This isn't something that just affects football. This is something that affects everything. I think to single out football is difficult. Yes, there obviously is an issue with shorter flights that's taken, but given the argument from the football side of things, there's that much money, there's that much pressure around managers to get that tiny little bit of percentage, the smallest little increase in performance that they can get. managers will use any opportunity that they've got, and that's the reason that they use the jets.
I suppose that these are fine margins, but Rob, you can give us an insight just how much of a difference it does make taking a plane compared to a coach and cutting a journey by a few hours. Are there better alternatives that clubs should be looking at as they try to navigate their way through this and travel in the most efficient way for their team?
It's unfortunate, isn't it? And but it's inevitable, the geography of the way that some teams are positioned. I played for years for Norwich. And anywhere was a 3-hour coach journey, and what you've got to take on board is, it's the preparation for the next game that Paul touched on. And you're thinking about players with injuries. That if you sit on a bus for 6 hours, 7 hours, then the injury just builds up, gets worse. You want to spend as little time as possible travelling. We played in European games, and me and Paul are like, you play in the Europa League or the European Cup, and you just constantly travelling from game to game, and it's just impossible to do it without flying. And so it's a really tough situation. It's one that there are instances where you think, well, that's not worth it. A 30-minute flight or a 15-minute flight, we've seen examples of that. But when you get to the nuts and bolts of it and you're in it, there's no other way.
Who should the responsibility fall on, Paul? As you were sort of saying in your first answer there, perhaps you feel football's being targeted a bit, but is this up to the clubs? Is it the Premier League?
Certainly not the players. I think the players and management will take the easiest, quickest way of, transporting players around Europe, around the country, without a doubt. I think it's well above players and managers' pay grade, and the decision and the question shouldn't be focused in that direction.
How do you see it, Rob?
Well, I think the clubs have a responsibility, absolutely, but then the managers are going to say, no, my responsibility is to the players, it's to the team, and for the results. It's not, it's not going to change. It's not going to make any difference, I don't think, to any team. That they're going to sit there and in the nuts and bolts of it, and turn around on a Friday and you say, right, we can get there in an hour, or it might be 6-7 hours. You're not going to take that chance because it is such a detriment to your performance.
Well, the Premier League say they are committed to reducing its overall climate impact. In November 2021, the league joined forces with other leading sports organisations by signing up to the UN Sports for Climate Action Framework. This includes aims to achieve net zero emissions by 2040. For now, though, I suppose the debate will go on, and England have called a flight indeed to Italy, where at the moment they lead by 2-0 in their opening Euro 2024 qualifying game. John Murray, any sign of any England players yet reappearing? Any changes?
No, nothing imminent, Emma. The Italian substitutes are out on the pitch warming up. I would suspect it's more likely Roberto Mancini will be thinking about a change than Gareth Southgate, Rob.
Yep, absolutely. And you're looking at it and you say, well, Gareth Southgate, you're walking in saying, right, what criticism? It should have been 3. That's the only criticism really from that half, the odd slip or the odd mistake, which happens. But other than that, same again. It's a tricky scoreline, 2-0, but you're looking at it, it must take such confidence from that first half.
I think one of the good things about this tonight from an England point of view is, Emma, that the supporters, the England fans here, nearly 2,500 of them, who've clearly had some really horrible experiences tonight, that they've had a performance like this to enjoy and put that if they can out of their minds, because it sounds as though it's not been good at all on a number of different levels for the England fans coming here to the Diego Maradona Stadium this evening.
You're speaking to the fans as we come into the stadium into Italy, and unfortunately that's what they were fearing coming in, and they said we're really scared and fearful of how we're going to be treated, how we're going to get to the stadium, and they've obviously read the reports, they've read some interest, and it was that fear, and it's seemingly that's become apparent.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have more on this in the programme once we get past 10 o'clock and on till 10:30. Colin Murray's on as well tonight. I would be expecting that Colin's programme might well be speaking to England fans as well who are here this evening to hear about their experiences. But that is for later in the evening. England's players still in the dressing room. The Italian players are coming back out, and there are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of them, and I don't see any changes yet from Roberto Mancini, who is walking out there with his trusted assistants, Alberico Ivani and Attilio Lombardo, of course, the former Crystal Palace player, former teammate of Roberto Mancini's. He's part of the staff as well. They are deep in discussions, and this is, for England, of course, it's the best possible start, best possible first 45 minutes of the campaign, but for Italy, worst possible.
It was a tough first half for Italy. You look at it and you look at Mancini and you say, right, what can we do? What can we do that's different? And they did all right in that opening 10 minutes. They caused a little bit of chaos within the England team. They upset the England, got amongst the players and really disrupted the pattern of play, disrupted how they were going to play out from the back. They just couldn't keep it up, couldn't keep those energy levels up, and from there it was really to have to do that again for 45 minutes. That's, forcing an error. That's the only real way you can see him scoring.
Well, the England fans in good voices, you can hear the England players are out there now. So Italy, no changes at half-time. Donnarumma in goal, Di Lorenzo, Toloi, Acerbi and Spinazzola, the back four. Barella, Jorginho and Verratti, the midfield three. And then Berardi on the right, Pellegrini on the left. And the debutant, Retegui, through the middle. And England with Pickford in goal, Walker, Stones, Maguire and Shaw, the back four. Then in midfield, Rice, Phillips and Bellingham. And then Saka, Kane and Grealish, the England front line. Rice and Harry Kane, the goal scorers. Kane from the penalty spot, and Jack Grealish just before half-time really should have made it 3-0. There is a choice of listening, by the way, on 5 Live and Sports Extra tonight. The Super League match that's being played this evening is on Sports Extra right now on your digital radio via BBC Sounds, and it is Huddersfield 6, St Helens 12. That is the latest score. And 5 Live Sport on air till 10 o'clock tonight, so Colin Murray will be taking over after 10, but I'm sure he will have more on the difficulties for the England fans here in Naples on his programme after 10 o'clock. So throw-in for Italy, level with the edge of the England penalty area. Italy in the second half playing from right to left here at the home of the Italian league leaders Napoli, who have got a mammoth lead at the top of the table and are looking to win the title for the first time since 1990, only the third time in the club's history, and it is all this city is thinking about, it seems. There are streamers hanging from all of the streets in the colours of the Napoli team, the light blue colours, as England defending, deflect the ball out of play for a throw into Italy down the right-hand side. Looking to take a quick one, they do, to Berardi, and then it's given back to Di Lorenzo, who wins a corner off Luke Shaw. Corner for Italy at the start of the second half.
Yeah, much like the first half. Strong start from Italy, but it's been sloppy again from England. A sloppy start 3 times in the opening 45 seconds. They gave the ball away. Thinking, come on, let's switch back on, let's get to it.
So corner from the far side. I think it's Spinazzola over there who's going to take this, the left back. So in it goes, Pickford stretching, didn't get there at all. Maybe did get a touch, yes he did. He's been congratulated by his teammates. Back pedalling, stretching, got his fingertips to it to touch it away across the far post and behind for a corner from the other side. That is going to be taken by Pellegrini from the left flank. In it goes into the 6-yard box, and it's deflected wide at the near post. There were 2 England players. I think it's Harry Kane who's taken the final touch, and actually he's hurt himself.
And he's winded.
And he's crawling. He was off the field, and even though he's winded, he's crawled over the line and back onto the pitch just to make sure that play will have to be stopped. And the Italians in the stands think that is bending the rules by the England captain.
Intelligent play, let's put it that way. But he was actually a really good block.
Corner, second consecutive one from this side. In it goes, Pickford gets a good punch on this time in amongst a crowd of blue and white shirts. And Verratti is in danger of losing it. He has lost it. Bellingham, brilliant, pickpocketed him. And then Saka, he was caught late on the halfway line, and that is given as a free kick. And the England players are saying, how about that for a foul on Saka? I mean, it was late and reckless. It is a free kick.
Verratti, he was making sure Saka was not going. Was it Verratti? Making sure he wasn't going any further, that's for sure. But England saw that opening couple of moments through. It's a good punch from Jordan Pickford. The first one just got caught under the ball, going forwards, and then having to just to go back. And Harry Kane with that really good block, because it was a shot from Pellegrini from the corner.
don't think it was Verratti, was it? But I'm not entirely sure who it was. But whoever it was hasn't been booked, and are rather fortunate, I think, not to be the first Italian to be yellow card. And then Bukayo Saka's just deflected the ball away from Spinazzola, and fortunately it spun back to him. Portugal now leading Liechtenstein by 2-0. Bernardo Silva of Manchester City with the second goal after João Cancelo scored the first, and Cristiano Ronaldo incidentally winning his 197th cap tonight, which is a record for senior men's international. Italy 0, England 2. 5 Live Sport from the BBC, live in Naples on a clear night. It's been lovely and sunny here on the Mediterranean coast during the course of the day. It's an amazing city to come to, Napoli. You know, it's a little bit edgy, but it looks spectacular. Vesuvius just down the coast. There was a haze over that today across the bay. The Isle of Capri sits off the coast, where some of the most famous people used to go on holiday, as Jorginho chips the ball away towards the halfway line. First time Italy have played an international here in this city for 10 years. The traffic as well is amazing. I'm not sure there are too many cities like it. Our taxi driver the other day, Luigi, yes, he was called Luigi, said stop signs in Naples are only a suggestion. A throw-in for Italy near the halfway line. Ball's played forward to the debutant, Retegui, and then Harry Maguire is there to stab it out of play for a throw down the right-hand side. Well, they've got a 2-goal lead, England, and I guess what Gareth Southgate and England will want now, Rob, is your department, a clean sheet.
Yep, absolutely. And I think the guys at the back there, obviously...
Rice with a double deflected clearance, bounces back. Verratti plays it through, and a blazed shot by Pellegrini. There was a defender there with him, just stepped in front of him, and Pellegrini lashed it wide.
Didn't look confident, didn't really have it much over the ball. Pushed it out onto his left foot to have a strike, and it's just a swing of the leg. No real control over the strike. I was just saying there, look at the back line, the experience that they've got between them, really looking at each other to say, come on, we can. There is no way that this Italian side, with the qualities that they're really lacking in an attacking sense, that if we get it right, should be keeping a clean sheet tonight.
Italy 0, England 2, early in the second half here, and the ball being brought forward from the back for Italy by the experienced Acerbi, who's on loan at Inter, 35 years old now, plays it forward, comes back to him on the halfway line, and Italy go back into their own half. Northern Ireland still leading by 1-0 incidentally against San Marino, and England leading through the goals from Rice and the penalty from Kane, which we'll come back to, Rob, Harry Kane's penalty, but Rice with a high challenge is, and actually also involved in that, Harry Maguire went in for it, and the high foot, and Rice has already been yellow carded and could be in trouble here, and the Italians are making that point, and the yellow card is shown in there to Di Lorenzo, Rob?
I think so. I think for some demonstrating, yeah. It's actually Harry Maguire had that one. Declan Rice, I don't think there was any real need. He didn't know, did he? He didn't know. He didn't see them.
Rice has actually collided with Maguire. So the Italian player who's challenging for it, I'm not sure he was even touched, but he went down, and Harry Maguire came off worst, but is back on his feet.
Yeah. Well, Jordan Henderson is down below us warming up. I would suggest very, very quickly that change might happen just to keep 11 men on the pitch.
Rice off. Yeah. And if Rice had made contact with the Italian player, I think he would have been yellow carded for that. Yeah. No question, he would have been off.
It was a reckless challenge.
Italy 0, England 2 though, and England still with the full complement. Ball played to the right-hand side. It's knocked in field by Verratti, and then Verratti curls it over the top, but Pickford comes and makes a catch high outside the 6-yard box.
That's the case in point for this Italian side, is that Verratti is one of the best ball players in the team, and it's just a hopeful chip into the box. There was no real idea of let's break them down by a bit of movement or anything like that. I'll just lob it in there.
England bringing it forward with Shaw. Sliding challenge comes in. Final touch was off the boot of Berardi, and it's a throw into England 10 yards inside their own half. More news on San Marino, Northern Ireland from John Southall.
San Marino 0, Northern Ireland 2. Jamal Lewis with a cross from the left-hand side, and it was Dion Charles again with a header 6 yards out. May well go down as an own goal, actually. There was a player on the line who helped it in. Doesn't matter. San Marino 0, Northern Ireland 2.
Yes, and it looks as though it's going to be a winning start for Michael O'Neill. And Northern Ireland in Group H, where it finished Kazakhstan 1, Slovenia 2 earlier, and Denmark and Finland, the other teams in that group. Denmark winning that match 1-0 tonight. And Portugal now 3-0 up on Liechtenstein. Cristiano Ronaldo has duly scored on the occasion of his 197th appearance, a record. And England playing it forward. Barely been out of their own half, England, actually, in the first 10 minutes of the second period, having had 62% possession, Rob, in the first half, England.
Yep, and it was comfortable, and they look comfortable now off the ball. They don't look like it can hurt them in any way, great shape or form. They look dangerous on the break. They had that one. Saka being brought down. Just thinking, just get on the ball again, just get playing, push Italy back.
Saka playing it forward, but way beyond anyone in a white shirt, and Donnarumma will chest it down. Donnarumma, who was beaten by Harry Kane's penalty at the end of the first half. We were talking, weren't we, interesting, at half-time. Harry Kane almost always, it feels, goes to the goalkeeper's right, so tries to find, as he looks at it, Kane, the top left corner. This penalty, he actually went to his right. Donnarumma went the wrong way. Italy coming forward, but a shot from way out from the debutant Retegui, which was very optimistic, and it just drifts away behind and bounces onto the blue running track around the pitch.
Well, I think you're only going to score one of them in your career. Why not make it
on your debut?
On your debut, international debut.
Finland have equalised, Denmark 1, Finland 1. But Kane, Rob, went what is not the most familiar route to score that penalty for the record. Verratti, now it's angled back, Retegui scores! And Italy have a goal back! Pellegrini set him up! And the debutant, Matteo Retegui, the Boca Juniors man, scores here in the Diego Maradona Stadium. What a great moment that is for this 23-year-old who only got his international clearance last week, and he's made it Italy 1, England 2. Things have changed.
And it's game on now, and it's out of nothing. It's a cool finish, because he had time to take a touch, had time to think about it, didn't need it, just slotted it home. But it stems from Harry Maguire stepping out the line, stepping out the defensive line and lunging in on Barella. Picked up a booking in the process, but the referee played on. But as he lunged in, he left the space in behind. That's what they utilised. 2 quick passes. Retegui was in. There was no need. England have just been off the ball a little bit in this start of this second half, and they've been punished because you couldn't see Italy scoring.
Yeah, he caught Barella, actually. That was quite a nasty one. Yeah. He came in, mistimed it, Maguire, and put his foot onto the top of Barella's, sort of, landed on him. That was a painful one. But then Italy quickly found Pellegrini in the box. Verratti's pass to Pellegrini, left side of the area. He looked up, sort of angled it back across the area, and Retegui on his right foot buried it low across and into the far bottom corner.
Yeah, we were saying it was going to be a mistake, and it was actually 2. It was first one from Harry Maguire was giving the ball away into a straight ball forwards into Harry Kane, which was never going to get there, and then the lunge after, a bit over-eager to make up for the first mistake, was then leaving the gap in behind. But the stadium is alive again.
Italy 1, England 2, and suddenly the flags of both Napoli and Italy are flying inside the ground, and Italy making us a double change now. In fact, they're not making it yet because play restarts. So VAR, I've obviously had a look at that, and Barella has received treatment. He's okay, he continues. He is still on the field, isn't he, Barella, after that challenge from Maguire. So Maguire, as Rob said, yellow carded for that, and England with the ball inside their own half, and the atmosphere inside the stadium transformed. It's not full tonight. Attendance of 42,000, inside the 47,000 capacity stadium. But England now have got to compose themselves and have a reset to the reset here, I think, Rob.
Yep, and you just back to basics, back to being what they did so well in the first half, driving with the ball, keeping the ball, choosing the times when to play quick, when to slow it down. They did that really well. They've not done it in this half. It's been sloppy, it's been slow, it's been in front of Italy. They've allowed them to press on.
Italy 1, England 2. And Harry Kane is beaten to the ball by Acerbi. Now it's played through the middle by Pellegrini, but he overhit that and it runs through to Pickford. Italy waiting to bring on Brian Cristante of Roma, one of Jose Mourinho's men, and also Matteo Politano, the Napoli winger. Popular move by Mancini to bring on another Napoli man into the team, but England with Kane on the right-hand side, crosses the halfway line, passes the ball for Saka, but Saka stumbles. He actually clipped the heels of Spinazzola, but went down himself, and Italy have got it back, and suddenly England do look rattled here.
Yep, they're on the heels at the minute, in every sense, just sitting back, going to commit forward there. In the first side, they would have had 4 or 5 players driving forward there, just 2, and it wasn't the right pass from Harry Kane. He's forcing it. Gave it away again so many times in this opening 15 minutes of the second half. They've given it away.
Half an hour to play. England now with a narrow advantage. Ball back into the centre circle, and the mood inside the ground. There are huge Italian tricolours now appearing in the stands again as they watch their team come forward. Acerbi actually stands on the ball, but Verratti, who is involved in that Italian goal. Pellegrini now to the edge of the penalty area. Barella, then back to Pellegrini, and then back to the centre circle. There's no question Italy were given the hurry up by Roberto Mancini at half-time. 2-0 down at the time, and they're coming forward again, and it's rolled across. Verratti on his right foot could have had a go at goal. He beats Phillips, shoots left-footed, but that's blocked on the edge of the penalty area, and then Kane takes it away and is taken out. Wins the free kick. That'll relieve the pressure. Jorginho, Arsenal on Tottenham. Yellow card for the Arsenal man, and now the changes are going to be made. Barella, who was injured in that challenge with Harry Maguire, is coming off, and so is Berardi. So the Napoli man, Matteo Politano, the number 17, is coming on now. There's a big cheer for him. 4 goals for Napoli this season, winning his 9th cap. And Brian Cristante, who came on as a substitute, if you remember, in the final of the Euros against England. Cristante is into the action in midfield, the number 16. Free kick to England after that foul on Harry Kane. Rob Green.
Yep, just along with the substitutions, allowed them just to take a breather, just to take stock. Just need to readdress, as you said, reset. Just get a foothold in the game, get on the ball, get passing again. The 2 subs won't change much for Italy. They stay the same shape, just like for like swaps. Feel with an attacking winger coming on to excite the fans, a home player as well. It might just raise it even more.
2-1, England lead. Could have been 3-0, that Grealish chance. Saying that, Italy did have those 2 decent chances early on in the match that they weren't able to take before England took charge. But Jude Bellingham, who was outstanding in the first half, has been very quiet in the second period. But so have England. Here's Grealish though. Grealish carries the ball deep into the Italian half and is then brought down. But no foul, says referee Jovanovic. And Grealish has to get on his feet again. Grealish has been denied by the referee on a number of occasions this evening. He obviously watches his Premier League. Here's Saka on the right-hand side, but Spinazzola puts in the challenge and it's out of play. However, what he did do there, Grealish, is what he does so well, carrying the ball downfield.
Yeah, he's done it really, picks his times. He's got better and better at that this season. I think he just fell over then. There wasn't really any remonstration from him, no appeal. Just an unfortunate slip, but it was one of the few occasions where an England player has driven through the midfield and made real ground.
So if you've just joined us on 5 Live, BBC Sound, Italy 1, England 2. This could be an eventful finish to this match yet. Calvin Phillips goes down on the right-hand side. England perhaps might be thinking about a change. You know, Italy have got the momentum now, and they've got the ball on the right-hand side, and here is the nearly arrived Politano, who runs it back towards the halfway line. In comes the challenge on him from Bellingham, so it goes back, and Italy start again with a Cherby. If you have just switched on, you might not know that the England fans have experienced difficulties getting here tonight, almost 2,500 of them. There were problems in the buses on the way to the ground, getting here late, then security checks, the police were involved outside. Got more on that in a moment, but Pellegrini looking to get the ball back on the edge of the penalty area. Rice was there to tidy up. Pickford clears. Pickford's pass only gave it back to Verratti, and now Politano on the right-hand side. Politano, central. Jorginho with a touch, bounces away, bounces down for Bellingham, and he's able to take it down and give it to Kane, who is challenged by Toloi. No free kick this time for England for Kane. Di Lorenzo on the right-hand side. This could be a long 25 minutes for England. Jorginho playing it through. Maguire comes out, gets a touch, gives it back to Politano. Left-footed ball from him into the penalty area. Bounces to the edge of the box. England really struggling here now. Italy continue to pile the pressure on England. Cherby was on his heels. Italy have got it on the left-hand side. And Spinazzola allows it to run. And it's played back centrally by Cristante. And they start again. Verratti's now much more heavily involved in the action. Portugal leading Liechtenstein by 4 goals to nil now. Cristiano Ronaldo has got his second of the match. England need something here, Rob Green.
Yep, it's good pressure from Italy. They're doing very, very well, winning back the ball, getting it back, putting pressure on Harry Kane there.
Cross from Spinazzola from the left-hand side, double deflection into the box, and then Rice clears it away. It's just an announcement for England fans being made at the moment. I think they're just telling the England fans that they're going to keep them in the ground, and you can hear the boos from the England fans. You know, they're unhappy with the way that they've been treated this evening, it seems. And one of our BBC colleagues has just sent us some more information about what was happening on the way and outside the ground, and that is that our BBC colleagues, witnessed police baton charges at queuing frustrated England fans at the away end after the buses arrived at the stadium before kick-off. And more on that in a moment, but Kane finds Saka on the right-hand side. Saka running at a Cherby. Saka into the penalty area, puts his foot on it, goes again, 2 defenders on him now. Saka curls it across to the back post where it's controlled by Di Lorenzo, and Italy look to play it out from the back. And Di Lorenzo finds his Napoli teammate Politano, and Politano's away down the right-hand side. Across comes Declan Rice to force him to check back, but Verratti now. Verratti approaching the penalty area, and then he angles it back to Cristante. A couple of touches with his right foot from Cristante, and then Di Lorenzo again, and Politano combining. That's what Mancini's after here, the Napoli link on the right-hand side. And then back centrally, Jorginho, Politano, just outside the D for Italy. Verratti, then to the left-hand side to Spinazzola. Another 2 Italian substitutes waiting to come on. England are going to make a change as well, but Spinazzola down the left, chips it across to the back post. It lands on the far side of the penalty area. Grealish is there, and he was being put under pressure by Politano and is forced to concede a corner.
England look leggy, look tired, haven't responded since conceding that goal. Just one attack really in this second half of getting into the Italian penalty area. Really are putting under immense pressure.
Just into the last quarter of the match. The latest Italian corner is headed away by Maguire for England, and then Bellingham is fouled on the edge of the box, and England will be able to make the change. It's Phil Foden who's coming on actually, and he will take the place of Jack Grealish. Did look as though it would be either Grealish or Foden to start this match in the absence of the injured Marcus Rashford. So Phil Foden is on, having started the last 3 matches at the World Cup, and Jack Grealish comes off, while Italy make 2 changes. Jorginho is coming off. Wilfred Gnonto of Leeds is on for his 9th cap, and also Sandro Tonali is coming on, the AC Milan midfielder, who is reminiscent of Andrea Pirlo, the way that his black hair flops down either side of his head. And so Gnonto is on, as I mentioned, and the other player to come off for Italy was so Jorginho is off. Who was the other player to come off? Oh, Pellegrini, yeah. So Pellegrini is off. So 2-1 to England, and Roberto Mancini's now made 4 of his 5 changes, Rob.
Yep, and one of them, very exciting talent at Leeds, Gnonto. He can really drive at players, got a wonderful touch. England will need to be aware. I'm sure they've been prepped and they know him well from the Premier League.
Yep,
he can produce.
So Bosnia-Herzegovina now 3-0 up on Iceland. North Macedonia winning 1-0 against Malta in the other match in this group tonight. As Verratti goes down under a challenge, and England have it with Phillips on the edge of his own box. So this Italian team, much changed in terms of attitude and performance in the second half, and now much changed in terms of personnel. And Gnonto on the left-hand side, played forward by Tonali, and now here is Gnonto against Kyle Walker, plays it in. It's missed at the near post by both Stones and Tonali, but Rice was there behind them to clear it away to the halfway line.
They look really, really tired. They just don't look like they can respond there. Kyle Walker, up against Gnonto, didn't respond when he went to take him on. He just let him cross the ball. I just feel now getting booked for time wasting.
And it's a yellow for Kyle Walker, who's yellow carded. So that's Walker, Rice and Maguire now all yellow carded for England. So 20 minutes to go, Rob. Feels like that's going to be a long 20 minutes for England. Oh, that chance that Jack Grealish had just before half-time that he wasn't able to take. Feels like England could do with that extra goal now, as Phillips passes the ball behind Saka, straight out of play. England were outstanding in the first half. They're all over the place now.
It's transformed, hasn't it? And they just look really, really ragged now. Look dishevelled, look like a team that can't pick itself up, can't have any purpose or emphasis, because they can't keep the ball, they can't drive forward with it because they haven't got the legs, they can't get out to close the Italian players down. It's going to be a tough 20 minutes.
They'll do well to win this now, England, you'd have to say, on the performance that we're watching, as Saka controls the ball in his own box. There are 1 or 2 shouts that it might have bounced up and hit his arm. It bounced back to Pickford. The referee's just briefly put his hand to his ear. Yeah, he's been asked by Cristante, the referee, if he's talking to VAR, and he said yes, we've seen it, we've checked it, it's not a penalty. Bounces back, Maguire left-footed and away, up to Harry Kane. Kane turns, does well, actually shrugs off a couple of challenges. Tonali came across as well, but he actually took it back into his own half. Classic Harry Kane play. Saka now receives it, then back to Walker. Kyle Walker just turns and gives it back to the walking John Stones to the right-hand side here to Calvin Phillips, who slips. Saka's there as well. Kane gets involved. Tonali with the challenge. Kane goes down onto his knees. He's actually feeling the right side of his knee there. He actually rolled off the pitch again, but rolled back on, and he's staying down. And I mean, he might be hurt, Kane, but it might be a little more game management, this, from the England captain.
I think it's more on the landing than anything. It wasn't much of a tackle. Certainly a foul won by Harry Kane rather than anyone giving it away, but it's just looking for England there. Harry Kane, he got the ball to his feet, and as you said, he rode 2 or 3 challenges, but that's been like it everywhere. And Jude Bellingham got just someone just piling through the back of him in a strong, fair challenge. England aren't being given a moment here.
North Macedonia now leading Malta by 2-0 in the other match in this group. Northern Ireland still winning 2-0 in their opening qualifier in San Marino. This is the first night, if you've just joined us, the first night of qualifiers for next year's European Championship, which will be in Germany. And we'll have Scotland-Cyprus commentary on Saturday, Scotland-Spain commentary next Tuesday, England-Ukraine on Sunday, and actually, as well this weekend, we've got the David Light Lawrence Okoli fight on 5 Live on Saturday night, when 606 incidentally will have a grassroots refereeing special with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton on Saturday night. And the last time they did this for part of the programme, it was a really good listen. So I would suggest having a listen to that 606 on Saturday night, a grassroots refereeing special. But Italy back in possession. We're in the last 20 minutes now, but the clock for Gareth Southgate in England seems to be going very slowly. Steve Holland, I see down there just to the left of the dugout, clapping his hands, trying to urge the effort from England. Surprises me that more changes have not been made.
It's just about to say, the performance of this second half has cried out for Jordan Henderson.
Yeah.
Just someone with a little bit between the teeth to go, right, I'm going to drag us through the rest of this half. And it's not, and it could be Calvin Phillips, it could be Declan Rice, it could be anyone from the midfield, really.
Italy coming again, and Gnonto to Spinazzola on the left-hand side. Spinazzola takes on Walker. Spinazzola beats Walker, but then stumbled, and Walker was able to recover. That was crucial. Tonali on the edge of the area, and Gnonto might have been pushed by Walker, and Gnonto kept his feet, but then passed it wide of Di Lorenzo, and the ball ran away over towards the right-hand side when England were stretched again. Verratti finds space again, middle of the England half, and the little number 6 plays it to the right-hand side. Politano, left-footed cross to the back post, a stretch and a header away by Stones. Comes out to Tonali, right foot, left foot with a shot, and then it's blocked inside the penalty area. Saka goes down, maybe fortunate to get a free kick there. Gnonto's challenge, free kick to England.
Yeah, it was fortunate, and it was just more pressure. I think John Stones has made about 4 or 5 blocks in long barrier style, and he's been so effective in this game. He stood there and said, right, just hit me. Is that Jordan Henderson now warming up down the bottom? No, Eric Dyer.
Hit me. Made me think of Ian Drury. Jordan Henderson is warming up, isn't he? Yes, he is there. And Eric Dyer is there as well, warming up. So, I did wonder, was there a problem with Henderson? I mean, Gareth Southgate told us here last night that everyone was fit, and Henderson is out there warming up. It does seem strange, just the one change so far when England are under the pump, as they say.
Well, it has been a criticism in the past, hasn't it, about the lack of proactive changes Gareth Southgate makes. And you just think it is crying out for someone with a bit of steel in the middle of the park, because Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice on the yellow card look at a little bit of spent force.
Ball played back to Pickford. Italy look full of energy. Phillips on the edge of the box. Phillips just passes it back into Pickford, takes a touch on his left foot and then passes out to the far side. We'll get you the interviews if we can as soon as the match is over. As I say, Colin Murray taking over at 10 o'clock. We'll have more on the difficulties with Colin, I'm sure, for the England fans here in Naples tonight. As Italy with Acerbi plays it towards the edge of the penalty area. That's chested down. Retegui now, and Gnonto again on the left-hand side, and Gnonto against Walker, who just steps off him, steps away, watching, then the cross, all the way across goal, and Shaw was coming in with Politano. I thought for a moment there maybe Shaw bundled him over, but there's no appeal from Politano. They both went to ground, and the ball out towards the far side, and England goalkeeper John Stones and Pickford looking at one another, and Gnonto causing problems.
Just Luke Shaw, last ditch, just getting his body in the way. As you say, John, Gnonto causing problems, but it's just dithering. The team's dithering, it's waiting to concede.
Yellow card now for Shaw for delaying the taking of a throw-in. And the referee's been right on top of this. Time wasting is not going to be an option for England, and that's now, what is that, four yellow cards for England.
He's got a plane to catch.
Apparently they have got a plane to catch tonight. They've got to get away as quickly as possible to Naples airport after the match, England, and then prepare for Ukraine. It's been a big effort tonight. Donnarumma's been a virtual spectator in the second half as Harry Maguire wins a header against Gnonto, and Saka will carry it forward. Kane was in an offside position, so Saka just takes the ball on, takes it on, then uses Kane. Kane now slips the ball into the area. That's hit the outstretched arm of. We had a great view of that. It actually bounced off the hand of Acerbi. Italy break downfield. Verratti into the edge of the box. Oh, Shaw puts the challenge in. That could be a second yellow card for Shaw. It's a free kick for Italy. The referee's across there. There are players gathering round. They're saying that should be a second yellow card for Luke Shaw in the space of a few minutes, but I'm not sure the referee is going to oblige them.
He should be. It's a tackle from behind. Should be a yellow card.
Or is he?
Harry Kane immediately sprints over. He realises the danger, gets in the referee's face, just trying to say something, just to say, please, no, think about it. Luke Shaw's walked all the way over to the goal.
The referee has sent all of the players away. They're following him, though, the players from both sides. It's Retegui who was fouled by Shaw. We've seen Roberto Mancini down there. I think he was brandishing the imaginary yellow card. He's talking to the fourth official, the Italian coach, but it's only a free kick, and Luke Shaw, having run away almost behind Jordan Pickford in this penalty area, now comes back and takes his position. He is a very relieved man. And now Roberto Mancini is talking to John Stones on the side of the pitch. The yellow card has been shown. It's a second yellow for Luke Shaw, and he's sent off, and England are now down to 10 men. There it is. He had a long time to think about that. I mean, it is the right decision.
It's not much of a tackle, but it's a tackle from behind, and a tackle that he didn't win. It's been a sloppy second half, and really for that a sloppy couple of minutes for Luke Shaw.
Frustration for that is for England, because that was the first yellow card for time wasting for Luke Shaw, and just a few minutes later there he is putting in a tackle that was a yellow card tackle on Retegui, and eventually the referee has shown him a second yellow card. And it's an interesting one. The delay was such a long time. VAR can't be used for yellow cards, remember, only for straight reds. And Kieran Trippier is being prepared by England, and Luke Shaw is in long discussions with the fourth official. He's finally left the field. After all that, we've got 10 minutes to play, but there will be a lot of added time, and England are substituting the substitute, Phil Foden. So Foden is off because of England going down to 10 men, and Kieran Trippier is going to come on to play, presumably at left back.
Yeah, he'll come on, and I think Phil Foden's barely had a kick in the game, and it's going to be a long 10 minutes. It's going to be a tough 10 minutes. I think it's turn around and say, well, the job is now fairly simple for England, is to hold out for as long as you can.
And this is where you need experienced men, and Kieran Trippier is one of those. Free kick, Tonali plays it in, Phillips heads it away. England are going to do extremely well here. 10-man England to hold on for an opening victory in this group, and to win against Italy in Italy for the first time since 1961. And now England are going to make more changes, and there's Conor Gallagher is being prepared, but still not Jordan Henderson, which just seems strange. Reece James is going to come on as well for England. Here is Verratti to Politano again. Politano slips the ball into the penalty area. Di Lorenzo, his cross deflected. Tonali's after that, challenged by Kane. Tonali went down, ball bounced away, and Harry Kane just blasted away downfield. 8 minutes to play for England. This has turned into a real thriller, Rob Green.
Absolutely, and it's been such a turnaround in this second half. The energy is just drained from England. Now, just hanging on.
Hanging on, that's exactly what they're doing. Politano, then to Verratti, square from him. Tonali tried to stab it back to the Italian captain. Declan Rice put the challenge in on Verratti, but he kept possession. And now Acerbi. Acerbi thought about having a go there for a moment. Packed penalty area, England on the back foot. Spinazzola plays it in, too close to Pickford, who's able to watch the ball into his hands and catch it and drop to the ground.
Declan Rice has got to be careful. He's the next. He's just had that lunge there, just didn't make contact with the ball, thinking there's only one thing worse than going down to 10 men, that's going down to 9.
Italy 1, England 2. England were sailing to victory at half-time, 2-0 up, had played superbly. And now you can hear the England supporters. Saka, a rare England attack. Played forward. Bellingham slips as he played it forward and might have pulled something, actually, because he's half pulled up. Everything's going wrong for England. Italy forward. Now Gnonto again on the left-hand side. Spinazzola makes the overlapping run. Kyle Walker thoughts about the challenge. And Gnonto with the cross, Pickford dives, punches it away to the edge of the penalty area. It's set up for Verratti. Verratti wins it back, clipped across, a stretch all the way to Gnonto, and Gnonto plays it back across, and it's headed away by Declan Rice. Oh my goodness, how can England possibly hang on here? And Gnonto on the left-hand side, Walker puts in the challenge, and Gnonto then finds his pass cut out by Saka, who relieved turns and plays it out of play, almost finding touch England with that clearance. And Gareth Southgate now will make those next two changes. Bukayo Saka is the first to make way, and also Jude Bellingham, who we think might have just tweaked something when England had that last attack. So on comes Reece James, who's so disappointed to miss the World Cup. Devastated, he said, with the knee injury that he picked up before the tournament. So he comes on to win his 16th cap, the Chelsea man. And Conor Gallagher as well, his Chelsea teammate, to win his 5th cap. He's not played for England this season.
Well, Reece James will slide in, almost a back five now. As Kieran Trippier is left wing back, Kyle Walker going into the right-sided centre half, and Reece James the right wing back. Conor Gallagher coming on, just run, get around, be busy. We know you can do it. It is remarkable that Jordan Henderson, there must be something not quite right with him.
It must be. Otherwise, surely he'd be on the field. He would have come on early in the second half, and he's not come on at all. And that is now 1, 2, 3, 4 changes that England have made. 10-man England after Luke Shaw was sent off. So he'll miss the Ukraine game at the weekend on Sunday, obviously. Here's Tonali out to the right-hand side. Verratti is in there, and Gallagher puts in the challenge and wins the free kick. Well, Gallagher came in at pace, bounced off Verratti, went down and won a free kick for England.
Yeah, sharp. It's just that bit of energy, just what a substitute brings. All of a sudden, he sprinted for the ball and won the ball when Verratti wasn't expecting it, and wins the foul. That's exactly what this England performance has lacked in the second half.
No alarms for Northern Ireland, who are still 2-0 up against San Marino in their opening match. St Helens were leading Huddersfield in the Super League, last we heard. That's on Sports Extra right now. And here we're into the last 4 minutes now. 4 minutes plus added time. There'll be at least 7 minutes, 8, 9.
It's going to be a late night.
Yeah, it is. Ball played forward for England. Well, if they win it, they have really earned it tonight, England. But I don't know about you, it's just got the feel, you know, in this ground that has seen so many special things with Napoli this season, and Italy have put England under such pressure, really pulled them hither and thither for large parts of the second half. It just feels like that second Italian goal is coming, I have to confess.
You couldn't have fathomed it in the first half after watching that performance from England. So controlled, so consummate.
England have got the ball down the Italian end, but it's volleyed forward. Kane can't reach that, and it bounces through for a goal kick that Italy take quickly. And there are 3 minutes of the 90 to play, and Gianluca Scamacca is coming on, the West Ham man who was left out of the team tonight. He's yet to score for Italy in his 9 appearances. Retegui played instead, the debutant, the Argentine-born Retegui, and he scored. He's got Italy's goal in the 57th minute. Since then it's been one-way traffic, and Italy haven't been able to find a breakthrough for that second goal. Back it comes centrally to Toloi, now to the right-hand side. Politano making a nuisance of himself again, and then the cross from the right, from the underlapping fullback Di Lorenzo. It comes off John Stones. It's a corner to Italy from the far side, packed penalty area. Scamacca's coming on now, and off comes Verratti. So I mean, he's run the show in the second half, Verratti, in the midfield.
Yeah, he's had the space, he's had the time, he's had the options. Now they just need a goal. So striker on for a midfielder.
So Scamacca is on, and they've got the two big men now up front, Scamacca and Retegui. England have got to defend this corner, waiting to take it over on the far side. In fact, might be taken short. Toloi's run across there. They want the option. And Toloi's actually gone all the way across then. It looks as though he might actually take it. Yes, he is. So they're using Toloi instead. So it'll be an outswinger with the right foot of the AC Milan man. Toloi with the corner then, into the near post. It's glanced on, and it comes in the end off an Italian body and bounces behind via a deflection. Retegui with the touch, but it must have come off an England player in there and bounces behind him. It's a second consecutive corner.
He's made that up, the referee. He didn't know who that came off. It's a guess.
Corner then for Italy. Again, Toloi to take this. Again, it's the near post, headed down and away by Phillips. Italy again out to the right hand side. Toloi is there. Toloi drives it in. That's cleared away. Kane's there for England. Gallagher chases after it, but Italy back in possession. We are now in the 90th minute. England are hanging on here in Naples. Italy 1, 10-man England 2. Out to the right hand side. Ball played forward. Harry Maguire goes across, gets there ahead of Di Lorenzo, but he's lost out to Di Lorenzo, and the ball bounces out of play off Kieran Trippier for a throw into Italy. They take it quickly back to the halfway line. Scamacca looks interested in the middle. Retegui's in there as well. Ball played by Cristante. Now to Gnonto. Gnonto against Reece James, and he's found space and he clips it in, but Trippier was underneath it to head it away for England. And then Gnonto lands a pass onto the chest of Reece James, and England can take it away downfield with Kane. We've got seconds of the 90 minutes left. Kane's done well. He's beaten Tonali. Only 5 minutes of added time. That's a result for England. Should be more than that. And listen to the outrage in the stands. Kane has conceded a throw-in, so Italy take it. 5 minutes for England to start with a victory in this group.
That's remarkable, with the amount of subs.
Can't believe it.
Say there's 30 seconds per sub. There's been 10 subs. That's your 5 minutes, and the player's been booked for time wasting.
Way short.
Yeah.
Italy, but Gareth Southgate in England will take it. Obviously, Toloi infield. Cristante is there. The Italian, the Neapolitans, right behind their team. Now ball is played out towards the left-hand side by Acerbi. And Gnonto up against James, plays it into the area. Calvin Phillips comes across, and Calvin Phillips passes it away downfield. But Donnarumma will take up possession again. Actually, talking about the Jordan Henderson position, goes part of the way perhaps to explaining why Calvin Phillips was in the team for this match. But we'll find out more on that from Gareth Southgate later. But England have got 4 minutes. 4 minutes to hold out now. Kane is beaten and fouled by Acerbi, and that's a yellow card for the central defender. And England have the free kick, and Kane's down again on the pitch.
There's been a few yellow cards tonight. I think that was the easiest of the yellow cards to give. Absolutely upended him.
He did. So Kane only getting to his feet now. Have Northern Ireland won their first match against the Minnows? John Southall.
They have. They've beaten San Marino by 2-0. A memorable night for Dion Charles with his first goals for Northern Ireland. There was one in each half. The first a really good finish, the second a diving header. So Michael O'Neill has his first win on his return. San Marino 0, Northern Ireland 2.
And the top seeds in that group, Denmark, are now winning 2-1 against Finland. Italy 1, England 2. The England fans trying to do their bit after what's been a testing night for them outside the stadium. More on that to come on 5 Live. But Italy with the ball at the back. 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes to play. Conor Gallagher tries to win the challenge against Di Lorenzo. Then he's in again, Gallagher, and does win it back. Now Rice for the 10 men of England. Luke Shaw sent off. England going back to Harry Maguire near the halfway line. Maguire will go all the way back to Pickford. Pickford on the edge of the D, left-footed, sweeps it across here to the right-hand side to Walker. Walker forward to Reece James, then back to Walker again, and then John Stones decides best thing to do here is just to belt it out of play right on the halfway line. Roberto Mancini in his smart suit and his shiny shoes trots after it, can't get there, it bounces away from him. Another ball is found. We've got 1.25 minutes to go. Sorry, 2.25 minutes to go. Now the ball on the right-hand side. Italy, Toloi, looking to come back from 2-0 down here to snatch a point. Back it goes centrally to Toloi. Toloi, right-footed ball, he's overhit that, and Pickford's able to make the catch in the area. There's an Italian player who's gone down in the box. Politano, I think it was, threw himself down inside the penalty area. Trippier was there with the challenge, but referee's not interested in that.
Yeah, really poor from Tonali. Just just no pace
Di
on
Lorenzo,
it.
actually, it was who went down in the error. Sorry, Rob.
Yeah, he just floated in, nothing on it. Where do you want it, Jordan Pickford? Please, as close to me as possible under my crossbar, nice and comfortable, thanks.
90 seconds to go. Italy 1, England 2. This would be Gareth Southgate's 50th win as the England manager in his 82 matches, and boy, they will have earned it in the second half if they hang on. They've had a bit of fortune, certainly, in the second period. Looked so good in the first half, but Italy coming forward again. Politano in the box on the right-hand side. He's got Cristante. He uses Cristante. Tolloy's available 30 yards out, puts his foot on it, gives it back to the right-hand side. Di Lorenzo and Politano combining. Then it's square to Ignonto. Poor touch from Ignonto, but it runs to the left-hand side. Spinazzola just outside the corner of the box. Now Tolloy. We are now into the final minute of added time. Italy play the ball into the box. Scamacca was challenging for it, but a good header won in there for England by Walker, and they clear it downfield. 30 seconds to go. England 30 seconds from winning against Italy in Italy for the first time since 1961. But the ball into the box, a stretch from Retegui, takes it to the far side, centred again. Rice is underneath that, and Rice heads it out to the far side, where Conor Gallagher will just put it away downfield. But he doesn't put it out of play. Actually, it's allowed to bounce out of play by Tolloy. This is it. This is the final chance. This is the final attack for Italy to try and level things up. Spinazzola has to put it in the box. No, he doesn't. He moves inside Phillips, then throws himself down. It's been cleared away downfield. Donnarumma's chasing after it, but the final whistle goes. And what a hard-fought win this was for England. Their first against Italy here in Italy since 1961. They were on easy street at half-time, winning 2-0. Grealish should have made it 3-0 with the goals from Rice and the penalty from Kane, his record-breaking 54th goal for England. But England are out on their feet after Italy dominated the second half, scored through Retegui, but couldn't get the equaliser.
What a contrast. What a win for England. But they made hard work of it. They were in complete control and just didn't come out for the second half, didn't perform, and then after the conceding, they were clinging on, then a red card, clinging on, and just held on for dear life. There was good performances in there in the first half, good individual performances, good team performance. The second half, they disappeared, and it was just about defensive shape and holding on, which they did.
Yes, after Luke Shaw became the 20th England player to receive a red card with 10 minutes to go. I mean, Gareth Southgate out there at half-time, he must have been thinking this is one of the best results and performances of my time as manager. At the end, with his 50th victory as the England manager under his belt, he is a very relieved man. So there we are, the final whistle here in Naples, and England have won it and have started the group with a victory in what has to be the most difficult match in the group along the road to Germany next summer for the finals. What a start for them. Italy 1, England 2. What a start in every sense, Emma.
Yeah, what a start indeed, though exhausting to watch those closing stages. So, John, with that, we're fascinated to see what the players' take was. We'll let you go down towards the tunnel area and get some reaction for us. Rob Green, though, staying with us. Let's also bring back in Paul Robinson. We've said there, Rob, that you can hear the England fans. It's a historic victory in Italy. But that second half, it was sloppy, wasn't it? They were so in the driving seat. How did they let that so nearly slip?
They were cruising, and they just went away from what they were doing. Now, whether that was an energy thing where they couldn't just get going again, but they really didn't play like they did in the first half. The threat had gone, the threat in behind had gone, the ability to play through, the press went. Italy improved. I don't think that Roberto Mancini would have walked in at half-time and said, I think he would have turned around and said, we can't play any worse after that first 5-10 minutes. But, wow, the England players are out on their feet by the end of the game. Absolutely shattered. Elated, but just shattered, because that was tough.
the question was asked in commentary by John and Rob, why perhaps changes weren't made sooner, Paul. What was your take on it? Perhaps it was felt Jordan Henderson, the second half was crying out for him a little bit, especially with Rice on a yellow and Phillips without the minutes in his legs. What do you think the hesitation was?
I think there's obviously been an injury issue with Jordan Henderson, hence the reason he probably wasn't in the starting 11 and we didn't see him come into the game, because the longer that second half went on, it was crying out for somebody of his quality and his experience just to come on the pitch, just to put his foot on the ball, to calm things down, to take control of the game, to take the sting out of the game. But you said there about the in-game management, the in-game substitutions. Roberto Mancini did that excellently well tonight. I mean, on 70 minutes, Italy had made 4 substitutions to England's 1, and the England's 1 was predictable. It was Foden for Grealish, which was probably a toss-up in the starting 11 anyway. So Italy looked fresher, they looked fitter, and they looked stronger in the second half. But you have to give England a lot of credit for the way that they dug in and they got the result. The first half performance, they were excellent. They were a real threat going forward. They scored the 2 goals. They should have had 3 before half-time with Jack Grealish. But the second half was night and day. But what the manager will take huge amount of positivity from is the way that his players put in a performance, the way that his players put their bodies on the line and defended that lead that they had. And they've come away with an excellent result.
Yeah, it's an interesting question, Rob, isn't it? 'Cause we talked about mindset, didn't we? Mentality pre-match. Should it be criticised, some of the discipline we saw in that second half, or praised more so mentally, perhaps for the way that they managed to dig in there and hold on?
Yeah, both. It was a really sloppy start to the second half. I mean, I counted, I think it was 5 occasions in the first couple of minutes where they just gave the ball away needlessly, and they were littered with mistakes in the second half. But you can't always be brilliant, and you've got to credit Italy that they really came out and gave it a go. Huge 2 mistakes from Harry Maguire for the goal, and then other mistakes. But in the end, you stood there and saying, what are we going to rely on? We rely on our defensive shape, our ability to defend, our ability just to dig in. And yeah, they did that because they were up against it. That was a real test. You look at it saying it's not a brilliant Italian side. There's not many brilliant teams in world football, in international football. So this is as big a test as you get, really.
Well, let's not be too doom and gloom. If we rewind to that first half, it was off to a really positive start with Declan Rice's goal. And then, of course, Harry Kane scoring from the spot tonight to become England's all-time record goal scorer, so surpassing Wayne Rooney's record with tonight, Kane's goal, his 54th in an England shirt. And Paul, it had to be a penalty, didn't it?
It was great for him, and I think it was perfectly timed coming off the back of the World Cup so quickly, and there was no doubt in who was going to take it, and he stood up and he took it with great confidence. And for him to get that away from him, to put that memory, that memory will never ever go away permanently, but it's gone now for the foreseeable future, and for him to move on, and he will now go on, like I said at half-time, he will go on and set a record that will be very, very difficult for anyone to beat. He is one of, if not the best strikers in Europe at the moment. He's playing in a Tottenham team that are struggling, that have very, very much underachieved in recent years. You take his goals out of that Tottenham team and where would they be? So to do it in a team like that and to do it at international level, it's a phenomenal achievement for him.
There's a wonderful moment here now that Harry Kane's just been interviewed on the side of the pitch, down in front of the England fans who are up high in the stand, and just the acclaim that he turned to receive from the England fans there. It was a brilliant moment for him. Photographer there, that's one for the collection.
Yeah, and just touching on something that Paul's said there, with Qatar in the back of his mind, Rob, the consequence of what happened last time that he did step up to the spot for England, just how well has he dealt with that pressure there to score that goal?
It was a long time. It was a long time to wait because he was the closest and he knew it was handball. So he was the first one to react and went, yep, straight away, that's handball. I know it's a penalty. Right, start going through your thought process, go through your preparation, and it will, pick your side, do something a little bit different from what he normally does. So he knew straight away. That's not always helpful. So there was a long time with remonstrations, a problem with the penalty spot, people, as there always is, but it got bigger and bigger. And he just went to his process. He went through his process of what we've seen him do so many times with the penalty and was successful. And it's that sort of thing that has made him become why he is so good and why he scored so many goals.
You've got to give him so much credit for the way that he took that penalty, Rob, as well, haven't you? Because now you look at it and the amount of data and the analysis that's available to both goalkeepers and strikers. Donnarumma will have watched Harry Kane's last 10, 15, 20 penalties before this game, and Harry Kane will have known that he's watched his favourite penalties, and he will know which is his safety penalty, which is his go-to penalty. So it's now more of a mind game than ever. So that time that Rob talks about in between the penalty being given and actually being taken, there was a lot to think about for Harry Kane. It just shows you what type of character that he is, that he was able to step up and score that goal tonight.
And Donnarumma is massive. And the goal would have been getting smaller and smaller, and Donnarumma bigger and bigger.
Well, that's just how good he is. He did manage to find a way past him. And you mentioned there a special moment for him, speaking to the TV cameras in front of the fans there in Naples. A couple of the quotes here. Everyone who's helped me get to this stage, it is just a magical moment, says Harry Kane. I just do what I do. I practice and training and I work hard. It's just a great night. We haven't won in Italy for so long. It is just a special night. Real captain's talk there as well, not making it about him, and just highlighting what a special night it is for the team as a whole. Just winding the lens, though, on Harry Kane away from tonight and just looking at where he stands then in England men's records overall. It's not just the all-time goal-scoring record that he's got, but goals as captain as well, goals via penalties, goals in a single year, goals in major tournaments, and just some of the other names when you look at these records. Obviously, he surpassed Wayne Rooney this evening, Bobby Charlton, Gary Lineker, Jimmy Greaves, Michael Owen. The question, I suppose, now is, yes, statistically, he is top of the tree, Rob, but where does he rank as an all-round player in your eyes amongst those other England names?
I think what I would say is that he has different facets to his game that, say, a Wayne Rooney in comparison. He is the best finisher that I've ever played against and with. And you stand there in the goal and you'll be looking at him, and he just, as soon as he eyes the corner of the goal, and he's just got this little moment and he just checks sometimes, and you just know that you think, I can't save this. He's going to batter this right in the corner, and you just can't save it. And it's the same as the penalties, is that he went the other way today that John was talking about. He went to the other side, which is maybe a 1 in 10. There is no point going to the right, because it's so hard and so far in the corner 99% of the time. You've not got a chance of saving it anyway, so you may as well go to your left. But it's just that clinicalness that he has, that clinical edge, that when he finishes, he hits the ball so hard, and that puts him, in terms of finishing, is one of the best that I've ever played against.
Paul?
Yeah, I mean, I just echo everything that Rob said. I mean, you look at his records, you look at his numbers, and you look at the age of him and the potential that he's still got to go on and break records further and to put numbers that are out of people's reach. You look at Tottenham's all-time record goal scorer, the amount of years that record stood, and for him to come along and to break that. And there's a lot of talk about his future. He scores goals at international level, and he plays slightly higher up than he does at Tottenham. At Tottenham, he goes and has to look for the ball a bit more. At international level, he gets a lot more service than he does regularly on a weekly basis for Spurs. He's playing with players who create. He's playing with quality players in the final third of the field that will create him chances, and they want him there as a 9, as a focal figure. And as long as he's doing that for England, he's going to continue scoring goals.
Do you see this record being broken, Rob, as having any bearing on what his next club move might be? Now that perhaps that weight is off his shoulders, that target has been reached, do you think that changes anything for him at all in his desire for trophies and what he does next domestically?
No, I don't think so. I think that it was something that would have come eventually anyway. Once we realised he was as good as he was, and the team, playing in a team that gives him the chances, and being a penalty taker helps, and so that, you know, as soon as that process began, you knew it was in danger. So I don't think it's ever going to have changed in an effect of where he's going to play. Whether he does or not move or not, I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen now. I don't think he's reached an age where the money that they need to spend isn't going to be worth it for the few years that they get left in his career. That's just my opinion. But you're thinking, saying, well, it was always going to happen for him. So when it was going to happen, it was more the question of if.
Well, a great night then for Harry Kane, and actually a great night for the team as a whole. Paul, just getting over that hoodoo, beating Italy. In recent years, they've struggled, of course, number one, that Wembley final. But what will that do for this team psychologically?
Yeah, it was a difficult place to go, really difficult place to go. We know historically how defensively strong the Italians are, how difficult they are to break down. Italy kept 2 clean sheets against England in the last Nations League, and Italy topped the group. We know they didn't qualify for the World Cup finals, but they've kept 2 clean sheets against them in the Nations League. They've beaten them in the final of the Euros, and going away against a strong Italian side. Okay, we know they've got players missing, but going to Naples, which was probably the stadium was hand-picked because they knew how intimidating it would be. A very intimidating atmosphere, a tough place to go. A resilient Italian side who, let's be honest, they started the game particularly well in the first 5 or 10 minutes, but England showed their quality. They took their chances. They should have been out of sight at half-time. They weren't. The Italians came out the second half, and as Rob said, they couldn't play as bad as they did in the first half. They came out, they were better, but England showed so much character, so much strength, and they had to dig in. They had to probably go to places they didn't want to go. They were tired, they were exhausted, they were out on the feet, they were down to 10 men, but they went there, they dug in, and they got the result for the manager.
Yeah, they didn't take the easy route, that's for sure, but they did get there in the end. And yes, there are lots of positives for Gareth Southgate to be taking. A blow, though, losing Jude Bellingham, Rob. Hopefully that's not serious.
No, he just looked as though he'd tweaked something, looked a little bit laboured. He's just almost thought, oh, there's something, and that was kind of the end of the night for him. He was labouring a bit in the second half. The whole of the midfield didn't get the service. He did a really good job in the first half of playing high, playing up the highest almost alongside Harry Kane, but having the engine to get forward, get back, and which we know he can do. Didn't happen for him in the second half, but wow, what a talent in that first half. It was incredible to watch, and he's just a bundle of joy to watch. It looks like he's enjoying himself so much.
Speaking of talent, we spoke a lot about Harry Kane, but what about the other goal scorer, Declan Rice, Paul, particularly with some of the criticism that he's had coming into this game, that he doesn't score enough, with his critics in his mind. Just how well has he done to take that opportunity tonight on that stage so early on?
I think personally for him, he's had an excellent 24 hours. We know about the well-documented criticism that he received from areas of the media, and I thought the way that he responded to them verbally, I don't know whether it was an interview he did or whether it was through social media channels, I just thought it showed a lot of maturity. I thought we see players hitting back at pundits and replying in certain ways that probably didn't need to be done. I just thought he was very professional. It showed you what a rounded type of character that he was. And I thought if there's any criticism of his game which was posted at him is the lack of goals. And you look at his records for West Ham, and that is apparent, his lack of goal scoring. But he plays in a position that doesn't allow him to go that far forward. But tonight he was, and he has done that in the England team. And I thought, listen, I've seen him a couple of times first hand this year, and I just think he's been outstanding. I think he takes his defensive responsibility very seriously, and when he is allowed to go forward, it shows, like tonight, that he can score goals. I'm just interested to ask Rob, because Rob was in the stadium. I mean, we were watching on the television about Harry Maguire's performance, Rob. First hand, I mean, he obviously made 2 mistakes and cost England, probably the second half under pressure, and they were struggling. You get to see him off the ball a lot more rather than on the television. How did he play?
He looked, he's kind of mirrored the team. He looked so confident in the first half. He's just very, very happy on the ball, very happy coming out with it. The good understanding with the back 5 that they've got with Jordan Pickford in behind, and it looked fine. And he looked like he was enjoying the challenge of playing against the debutant Retegui, and you just think from there, you know what? You just don't have to do anything silly. We can get through this without being spectacular in the second half, and it just felt from there. That mistake, obviously, it's going to get highlighted. The 2 mistakes for the goal, but to respond and to hold on, you know what? Won a lot of headers, got a lot of blocks. John Stones alongside him. They looked happy in the first half, and much like the team, rattled in the second half, but got through it. And I think that was a fair reflection of him.
What did you make of Italy as a whole this evening, Paul? I mean, in commentary, John was commenting on how when he'd spoken to any locals, there was fear in them at how they might perform tonight, some serious doubt, which he was then surprised by when he saw how they did play. What was your take? Where do you think they're at right now?
Well, this is the second major rebuild that Mancini's had to undertake. The second World Cup that they missed out on. After the first time he had to rebuild, he picked a squad of 35 players in his first game after missing out on that World Cup. This time he's picked a squad of 30 players, and in a similar way he's looking to bring new players in. We saw Retegui come into the squad today, get his goal, starting 11. Up front is where they're a little bit light. Immobile and Raspadori quite often injured. His options there, a few. Gnonto looks like a very good young player from Leeds, but he's looking to find a balance, and he's looking to rebuild again. And they are a team that are in transition, but as we've seen tonight, they are a team that can cause others problems, and they're dangerous.
You already spoke about him briefly, Rob, but it was written in the stars, wasn't it, for Matteo Retegui on the score sheet. Argentinian-born, scoring inside the Diego Armando Maradona Stadium. I mean, I know you've only seen him sort of 90 minutes tonight, but how much potential have you seen there? Can you see the hype?
I can see why he put him in the squad. I can see why he started. You'd say he's not... He's a long way from being the finished article. I think the international football is, you've got to be meticulous as a front man. The ball into you, it's just got to stick, or else the team can't build, you can't play, you can't keep the ball. And it happened probably too many times for him where it just bounced off, or it was a poor touch, and there was one opportunity he went through on goal, and it was a poor first touch that forced him onto his wrong foot. But then he got it right for the goal. And you turn around and say, well, OK, it's a good return for him. I think there's work to be done with him. But, yeah, you say what, you can see why they fast-tracked him in.
Final reflections then individually. We should probably mention Calvin Phillips. What do you think Gareth Southgate would have made of his performance tonight? Because he took a chance, didn't he, selecting him from the start with the lack of minutes that he's had. Do you think Phillips himself will be pleased with his contribution, Paul?
I think he'll be pleased to get the start. We all know that his Manchester City career has been stop-start. He's been unlucky with injury, struggled to force his way into the side, and his game time has been limited. He'll be delighted to have started the game, played a full game tonight, and that the manager's put his faith in him. One, to select him for the squad, and then two, to have faith in him to start him. And I just think it wasn't his best performance in an England shirt, and I think it's a springboard for him to kickstart for the rest of the season. But it shows that the manager does have faith in him. He looked a little bit tired towards the end of the game. Him and Declan Rice, we spoke, and the boys spoke in commentary about the possibility of Jordan Henderson. Obviously, they were carrying a knock, or else he would have been assured to come on. But I think the whole team can take a lot of credit away from tonight. We know that Harry Maguire made the mistakes that led to the goal, but Gareth Southgate is a positive coach, and he'll look at that tonight and he'll be walking away with a lot of positives.
Yes, certainly so. Lots of positives tonight. Perhaps one of the only major blots is that we were receiving updates throughout the game of some of the issues that England fans were facing this evening. Various troubles getting into the stadium. Now, BBC reporters did witness police baton charges at queuing fans, who also complained about the length of time that it took to do what should have been a 25-minute journey from the city centre to the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona, with some saying it actually took them up to 90 minutes in the end. And one fan was attended to by an ambulance after being hit by a baton across the head and shoulders. If we get any more on this, I'm sure Colin Murray will be updating you next in his programme. Of course, just head to the BBC Sport website for more on that as well. Let's finish tonight though on a positive, because it has been a good result for England. Just looking ahead then, and actually looking more broadly at this group, North Macedonia and Malta have also been in action tonight. North Macedonia winning that game by 2-1. England with Ukraine to face on Sunday. As the start goes though, Rob, Paul, how positive do you think they can feel about their chances in Group C?
They'll be so happy with this result, thrilled. You know, we've talked about the performance and the drop-off in the second half, but to get this result was massive. And you put it on the other way, you ask Italy now, their history, recent history with North Macedonia, and they've lost the first game at home. That's all of a sudden a very, very big problem. And you're saying, well, England couldn't have made a better start.
Well, the fans certainly seem happy about it, Paul, don't they? Judging by what we can hear inside the stadium tonight. Right, I think we are coming to a close on 5 Live Sport this evening. So just to wrap up once more, the voices of Rob Green and Paul Robinson, John Murray tonight taking you through what was a bit of a nervy end for England. They did manage to find a way past Italy, though, winning by 2-1 in Naples, so getting their Euro 2024 qualifying campaign off to a winning start, as was the same for Northern Ireland. They beat San Marino by 2-0. And as I mentioned, the other game in Group C tonight, North Macedonia beating Malta.